Welcome to the Gibberpish podcast.
Well, I may need to go on a short rant about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but here we are, talking Gibberpish, aren't we, Dom?
Yep, we're back after a slight delay due to illness, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be totally honest with the listeners. I fell asleep. I missed a bus.
I didn't know what happened. You said, I totally, he texted me, and I was like, are you still coming up? You go, kind of forgot. I didn't realize you'd fallen asleep as well. I feel bad about it now.
No, I don't, because it was one of those times, you know, when you're ill, or you've got a bit of a sore throat, a bit of a cough, you're just thinking, it hurts to breathe, I'm just going to lie here and I'm just
going to take 5.
Wait for the antibodies to kick in. I'm going to take 5 and do nothing. I fell asleep halfway through season 4 of How I Met Your Mother. I woke up at the start of season 5. I slept through about 6 episodes of...
You might have slept through the good part.
I have some thoughts on How I Met Your Mother going back for a rewatch.
Not aged well, has it?
It's not aged well, and Ted Mosby might be a criminal.
Yeah.
The amount of marriages he's broken up, the amount of horrible shit he's done. Barney Stinson seems like a fucking god compared to Ted Mosby. Ted Mosby might be the biggest dick in that show, with the exception of Lily. She is a fucking nightmare from episode 1 to episode finale.
But the thing is, with Barney and Lily, you know.
Yeah.
Barney is pegged as a sociopath.
Yeah.
Lily is deemed as being the quiet, tiny one who is also a fucking monstrosity from the depths of hell. Those two characters are played in that way, and everyone knows. With Ted, he's just the average guy. Yeah. He's trying to find love in New York. He's just a nice guy. Oh, he's a piece of shit when you think about it.
The amount of times when you're watching, it's just he's just trying to find the one, but in the process of finding the one, he broke up 2 marriages.
Yeah.
Tried to convince a couple other people to leave their fiancés and what have you. Tried to make it rain at one point. That was the only funny one, because when you're watching it, he tried to break up a couple by making it rain, literally through an Indian rain dance or something. It's just Ted Mosby's not a good guy. He might in fact be the Gibberpish dick of the week. Fuck you, Ted Mosby.
Frankly, a well-deserved fuck you, if I may say so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to finish watching it just to round it out. But then I remembered the ending on the way up here, and I don't know if I want to sit through that again.
I cannot explain. I mean, we weren't podcasting at the time when the show finished. I think we hadn't even started on season 0.
I think it finished 2014, maybe tail end, or the very beginning of 2015.
So I'm pretty sure I'm willing to say that the ending of How I Met Your Mother is one of those things that, because no one else was watching the show, I couldn't talk to somebody about it. And when nobody else you can't really talk to people about things that end, and you're like, it's been a big part of your life for the last 6 years, because I think we started watching about season 3, so I think that's when I picked it up anyway, and that was when it was coming out week to week, and we'd tune in to watch this week. It was such a big part of life, and then it ends and you're annoyed, dissatisfied with how it all was pulled off, and you're just kind of left wanting to talk about stuff. So I think the ending of how it was so annoying, it might have started Gibberpish for me anyway. Was one of those things that's like, I need to, if I finish a show this bad, I need to let it out. I can't have that sitting on my stomach anymore.
Definitely.
Too bile.
The way I see the ending, the How I Met Your Mother, it's just the writers had this core idea. They just think, right, this is the soul, the crux, the fulcrum upon which the show stands, and it's this whole idea of Ted and Robin. Yeah. The more grown up thing to do, and I kind of think which would have been the better ending, is do the happy Scooby-Doo ending. Don't kill off the mother. Let Ted find, that one. Find the one. That's been the whole point of the fucking story. Yeah. Don't let Robin, because they put Robin through the ringer at one point. She has a couple failed relationships. She's barren. She can't have kids. And that's a bit harsh. That was unnecessary.
And she was with the guy. She's like, this might be the one. Yeah. When she finds out that she
these
can't
two
have kids.
Dysfunctional people. And it's the wedding, the relationship is now ended because Ted and Robin. I would genuinely love to sit in on the meetings with the writing staff and just ask them, why did they go with that ending?
Yeah. At what point do you say? I mean, putting Barney and Robin together. I mean, it's a weird one, but you can see how it kind of falls into.
You get the kind of broken half people and together that it makes a functioning person. Yeah.
And I think at one point Barney does say, "Robin, you make me a better person." Yeah. I'm not great. I have a lot of flaws. Oh yeah. But at the same time, I'm really glad that I was with you for a while, and I want to keep going with that. And it makes sense in a way. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. And it's the fact that they took, for me, it was the fact they used a season to do a wedding.
Yeah.
So it was one season became
the whole
a
of season
weekend.
9 is just Barney and Robin's wedding.
Yeah. And then the last 2 episodes are, fuck it, here's like the next 15 years for the gang.
Yeah.
Which was a shame because they keep flashing forward to that when it's randomly convenient to like make jokes. But I think at one point Marshall's a judge.
Yeah, Marshall
Almost
becomes a Supreme Court.
Yeah.
No, he becomes a Supreme Court judge because he goes a regular New York Judiciary Board judge, then jumps up to Supreme Court judge.
Yeah. So he has like that, and that's kind of funny. And then you get to see what I think of as being Lily as Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she
with
does
the
have the Clinton
pantsuit.
haircut, yeah.
Yeah. So we have that, and you're like, okay, that's funny, but where does everyone else go? Like, Barney obviously can't still be Barney in 20, 30 years, or can he?
Yeah.
So you get those, but then you just have to watch them force this, like, you know, it's like a meat grinder. You just watch them just like force this thing out and like go, well, we've chucked enough meat in, surely here comes the sausage.
Yeah, surely the desirable product comes out at the end, but
no, it was disappointing.
Again, if somehow I could go back in time and rewrite that last season, I'd cut the wedding down to maybe 4 episodes, then show them the kind
Even
of tailor.
just a half season.
Yeah, like, I mean, what's the average length of a season of How I Met Your Mother? About 12,
22.
22 episodes.
It's an American sitcom. It was an old American sitcom.
Yeah. I'd say cut that back to 16, make the first 6 the wedding, just if you really wanted to stretch it out.
Yeah.
Get the wedding over and done with. Because there's some episodes in that you're just thinking, right, they were really stretching ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Then have the last 10, the back 10 just be all about, this is how we're going to end it. Instead of just showing, it's like, oh, here's what Tracy, the mother's name is. In fact, no, I think she might actually just be called the mother throughout the whole thing. So here's the mother, here's them growing up and growing old.
Which, when you think about it, it's kind of really, really fucked up. If you remember that the whole context of the story is, I'm telling my kids how I met their mother.
Yeah.
And then he just refers to her as the mother.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of weird things about that show.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, Ted's primary rival in the thing is Barney.
Yeah.
How much of it you actually think, if this was a real story, if someone's telling you a story, like, oh, you didn't like this guy Barney, he was after your girlfriend, how much of that is just you expanding, exaggerating the truth? Like, maybe he's just a really nice guy and you're just painting him to be a sociopath.
I never thought of that. What if Barney's
Barney's just a really good guy?
Yeah. Barney was an okay guy. Like, not the best, but he didn't break up 6 marriages or whatever.
Yeah, he was a bit promiscuous. Like, maybe just...
he fucked around a bit. Why not? I mean, he's 20 and single in New York.
Why not?
Yeah. So, I mean, never actually thought of the idea that Barney wasn't the worst person on the planet. It just that Ted thinks that he might.
Yeah.
That's a really... And obviously as well, he's telling the story from the perspective of...
It all
after their marriage ends, he goes after Robin.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
That's now going to fuck up whenever I inevitably rewatch How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, it got me. That's what kind of spurred it on for this rewatch. Not because I'm in that kind of lull where there's not much good coming out. I'm kind of trying to hurry through the rest of the seasons just so that I can watch The Dirt, the Motley Crue movie.
All right, yeah, I saw that.
Fucking huge fan of Motley Crue, and the people who they've got playing the band genuinely look and act scarily like them. Like they've got the guy that played Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones playing the bassist Mick Mars, and it's fucking scary. It's really, really cool. And they've got Machine Gun Kelly playing Nikki Sixx.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's Machine Gun Kelly.
Shit, son.
He must have watched video after video because he gets all his mannerisms down. When obviously the whole story of Nikki Sixx is he was hugely addicted to heroin. Like when he's on heroin, he gets all the little mannerisms and stuff down. It is scary. It's that kind of phenomenon where you see that person isn't acting as that character; they are that character for that movie. It's really fucking good. From what I've seen in the little clips, because I've seen clips here and there, I've not watched the full thing, and from people that I know that have watched it, they've said it's scary.
The trailer for it was phenomenal. I was watching it a couple of days ago. It made me go listen to Motley Crue again. I was like, yeah, here we go.
It made me dig out the videos that I took when I went to see Motley Crue live in 2009. It was so fucking good.
Yeah,
I might dig out the book because it's based on the book The Dirt, the stories in Motley Crue. Really great book. Really kind of paints these guys as just like, we had a sound, we didn't know what we were doing with it. We just started making music that we wanted to. Then all of a sudden people liked it. Then just money came our way. Then we were like, oh yeah, let's fucking party. Then the story of Motley Crue unfold. Yeah,
I want to see that, because if you think about it, who's going to have a better story? And I really think that this will be pitched as the kind of nemesis for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah,
For
this
Bohemian
is
Rhapsody
what's
is
and
this
all.
like super polished, like PG, like 13
Yeah.
watered down version of Queen's life, and Queen's life is phenomenal. It's amazing. It's like it is a story. If you told it in full, you'd be dumbstruck.
Yeah, you'd be dumbstruck just because of what happened in the
Motley Crue, The Dirt, because it's not being put forward for Oscar nominations, and it's because it's just going to be a fun film chucked up on Netflix, is going to be way like more. It's in a weird, like, you don't want to say it's going to be grittier, it's going to be darker, it might be at some points, but it's going to feel more than Bohemian Rhapsody.
From what I've been told, it goes into areas that I'm pretty sure that the actual band members wouldn't like it to go. But at the same time, they put it in the book. They're happy for people to say, this is what we cleaned up after this. This is what caused us to get better.
Oh, so it's moments of shame. For them.
That's why I think it's like you kind of hit the nail on the head there, saying we've got Bohemian Rhapsody, which is this highly polished, highly almost what I can say over manufactured product, because it's been like, let's not show them the bad things. Let's show them what Queen was like when it's good, and that's if you want to tell a biopic, I think you need to do it warts and all, and I think that's where The Dirt is going to have the one up over Bohemian Rhapsody, because they're telling the full story, the shames, the overdoses, I think Vince Neil was put in fucking prison, and then when he was in prison, his child died, and he had to figure that out through sort of letters and proxies and stuff. I'd rather see that story and see like, the kind of effects of that rather than see Rami Malek with horrible teeth prosthetics and obviously, like, I've always liked the band Queen, because like when you're younger, it's like, oh,
you can't have a British
rock.
passport if you don't like Queen.
Yeah, everyone's seen Wayne's World, everyone's seen Flash Gordon in my house. It was always just like, this is rock, this is British rock.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, you like metal, this is Motley Crue, and then you're like, oh shit. Yeah. So obviously, I'm going to prefer one over the other, but I think even like just from a movie standpoint, The Dirt's going to be a better movie.
Yeah. I recently was at my grandfather's 90th birthday party, and there was a Freddie Mercury like special on for like one of the music channels, and they had it on in the other room, and my younger cousins, who are like young little girls, don't know anything about like rock music, they're way more into pop and stuff like that, or maybe like slightly more classical music occasionally. They chucked on, they were like, who's this guy, like why is there, it was the Live Aid show. So it's like an entire arena, people like screaming for this one guy, and they're like, who is this guy? And I'm like, that is Freddie Mercury. Yeah. And my mum just went off and she's like, you girls are in for a fucking treat. Yeah. And she just goes out and starts dishing out all these things about like, this is what it was like, and this is who he was, and this is how like we all saw him at the time, because she was young at the time of Freddie Mercury. She was about their age time you started hearing about this weird band from England, and it was really, really cool to see like them go, oh, and then just started to get real interesting. I walked through, I was like, if you guys like this, you should just go listen to them, because there's albums out there that just dwarf anything that's been made in the last 5-10 years, so go for it.
Yeah. I even like, you tend to think that the greatest hits album is going to be the sort of the shitter album compared to something that's new. Like, a compilation is always going to be lesser than that of just a whole album of new songs, but I would genuinely take Queen's greatest hits album from yonks ago compared to any new shit that's come out now.
Yeah, I think we said that for, I think it was the Slipknot Antennas to Hell. Yeah, you want to talk about a greatest hits album? Yeah, like there's some bands out there who just have a solid album of their greatest hits. It takes time. You gotta like build this up, and Antennas to Hell is a great example of that. Oh, did you hear that Slipknot's going to lose another member?
Yeah, Chris Fehn.
Yes, I'll just say yes to that.
Yeah, right. Fehn.
Did you read the band's statement about the whole thing?
I didn't read the band's statement. I didn't read into it because this has been just a nightmare for me over the past couple of weeks. But I remember I was told that he is leaving the band due to royalties or some kind of money. Well, he's been deprived certain benefits from or proceeds from something.
Well, there's a weird thing of some people seem to be putting that out there that's why he was left, and then there's some people saying actually that's what he's telling you. In actuality, he left for another reason. We're not going to discuss it, but and it almost like this is almost the quote from the statement. He knows what he did,
right?
And he's leaving, and you're like, what does that mean?
Did he? It sounds like he pissed on the floor.
What did he like? Who did he fuck? You either have to get he knows what he did.
Yeah.
You have to fuck somebody, stab somebody, or just steal a shit ton of cocaine.
Yeah.
That's from Slipknot. That's the only way you can get kicked out of there. I assume that, I mean, it's a brotherhood, and I do like the way it's being discussed now is that Slipknot is an artistic project that these guys embark upon every couple of years.
Yeah.
To kind of get stuff out. In the same way we talk about, like, we need to get shit off our chest when we watch bad TV. That's why we do this podcast.
Yeah.
Slipknot need to get stuff off their chest. That's why they put on the masks, they put on the suits, and they go fucking nuts. And it's an artistic event for these guys. So to kick someone out of that and then say, he knows what he did. What did you do?
Maybe he went the other way. Maybe he did something incredibly nice that just violates the band's core premise.
He just gets like a tattoo of a puppy.
He gets a tattoo that says, I love you, Mum. in the fanciest lettering possible with a rainbow going through it.
It's just a heart with Mum written on it.
Not even like a sailor tattoo when it's all haggard and hand-drawn. It's just, no, this is ornate and beautiful calligraphy, Mum, going through it. We don't condone that as Slipknot. We threw him out. He knows what he did.
That, frankly, will be the best explanation we will get, because this is one of those things, it's stuck behind legalese now, because apparently there may be some lawyers involved, because as you say, it's a settlement, it's to do with kicking somebody out of a band, which is effectively a contract or a performance group, so you're going to end up with some serious issues when somebody starts throwing lawyers around the music and the music industry. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I actually meant to start by just having a mini rant about Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. Rant away.
Because this is one of my favourite shows. And after How I Met Your Mother, I watched Community.
Okay.
After I watched Community.
Turns out Community is not on either Amazon Prime or Netflix. I will need to borrow the DVDs.
Yeah. You got those rec DVDs back?
Oh yeah, I actually do. They're in my bag.
Nice.
I brought them along.
I think I gave you
Didn't watch
those
them.
about 3 years. God damn it.
Did not watch them.
This is the joy of giving people DVDs and stuff, because like they never, like I had borrowed a set of Breaking Bad DVDs a couple of years ago. Didn't watch it for long. I didn't even watch it. I don't think I've still not seen it. Actually.
I'm not gonna lie. Breaking Bad starts off great, but it gets a slog. Like, 'cause he doesn't become Heisenberg proper until about season 4. And it's what? See, there's only about 7 or 8 seasons. Maybe I think 7 or 8 sounds about right.
But I went How I Met Your Mother, Community, and then searched for a long time to find something that hit that sweet spot.
Yeah.
That sweet spot was hit by Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, it's a very PC show in a way, but it's still funny, and that's a very hard thing to, like, it's a very hard balance to find of being politically correct and positive and interesting, but at the same time not being cheesy and melodramatic and just way too simple to be enjoyable and for more than like 5 seconds. But this is a show you can go back and watch again and again and again, and that comes from the fact that the characters are well written.
Yeah.
And some of them are the others dumb characters or smart characters, but they all play off of one another in a good way. This seems like, and I'm going to borrow the phrase from the Community season 4, the gas leak year.
The gas leak year.
They literally, because Dan Harmon got kicked off for a season, and then when other people were writing it, the characters didn't act the same way you would expect them to act. So they blamed it on there being a gas leak, which made everyone stupid.
As far as plot devices go, that is beautiful.
Yes, and in a very spiteful way, it's very Dan Harmon. Like it fits with his way of looking at a show. I'm going to borrow that terminology when referring to Brooklyn Nine-Nine's 6th season.
Has there been a change in writer? Didn't it jump from?
They moved from Fox to NBC.
NBC,
and I just, oh no, it's CBS. I think, is it NBC? I'm trying to remember. No, it's NBC. Yeah, I think it's that, because if it was on CBS, you'd see a lot more of them on like Stephen Colbert. They'd be showing up every week to just pop in and have a chat, and while we're at it, watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know who transferred over, who didn't make the jump. Maybe there's some people who were incredibly loyal to Fox and stayed with those guys to write whatever sitcom they're working on there. Maybe they went to work on The Simpsons. Give them a little boost, because fuck me, do you think they're going to need it if they're going to tackle esports? Yeah, we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just don't think... I think everyone has taken a massive hit. I think everyone is out operating, all the characters are now about 30 IQ points lower. So the characters who were smart are now kind of average and are kind of not being as witty and sharp as they could be, like Captain Holt.
Yeah.
Incredibly smart character, very well written. Black gay police officer who was going to be the commissioner, but lost due to basically political sabotage. Interesting character. Really well done. Made amazing by Andrew Bauer. Andre Bauer?
Andre Bauer, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. For example, Detective Santiago, now Sergeant Santiago, has totally lost all the stuff that made her the best detective. I honestly don't think either of those characters are as sharp as they were previous seasons. Terry Crews's character, Sergeant Jeffords, is basically retarded at this point. There's no way about it. You can't avoid the fact he has just completely devolved from being like the muscly man with the heart of gold to me big man lift heavy thing. Nah, that's it. He just has rage and lifting heavy things. There's no heart to him anymore. I don't know where it's gone. So he's been a very let down character this year. So him, Peralta is one of the dumber characters. The two kind of butt of the joke characters, what's the names again? Fuck. I've forgotten their names.
I don't watch Brooklyn
Nine-Nine. I know, and that's really fucking me. I'm like, I should know these names. Technical interlude time. And obviously right now the names escape me. But they've been there since season 1. And they've always been the butt of the joke in a decent way.
I'm going to hazard a guess and say that it's Andy Samberg's character and somebody else.
No, it's two bigger, older guys. Like
Right.
they're riding the desk till the end. Like
Right.
they're
just seeing it retirement.
They're clocking out in a couple of years' time. Might as well just keep getting a paycheck while we're at it.
Yeah.
So they've been reduced duties, and it's clear that they've gone mad. Like they're not sane anymore. And for the last couple of seasons, they've been getting worse and worse, and it's been funnier and funnier to the point we're starting to use like words you kind of think they don't understand. Like at one point they have an argument, and one of them calls the other one a cuck. I don't think those characters know those words.
Do you know what that means?
I don't know where they picked that up from, but it's kind of one of those things of it's obvious they've picked it up from somewhere, and because they're basically adult children, they don't know what they're talking about, so they kind of make it up as they go along and just act like children. So when those characters come back, you have, like, when it's now in this new season, they're beyond dumb now. They're beyond infantilization. They're just thick. There's nothing going on. There's nothing. Even they had moments of like wit and like accidental wit. It's all gone. I don't know what's happened. It's nuts. But if you're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine 6th season, let me know, because I can't figure out what the hell's going on.
Do you think it's like what they did with certain characters in the likes of the Simpsons in the later seasons? They kind of dumbed down the whole, we're going to tackle an issue in this, and we're just going to make funny fart jokes.
Yeah.
Same in Futurama, when they jumped from Fox to Comedy Central, you could tell there was a definite like shift.
All right, yeah.
Because Fox, again, every episode had a theme. Or every episode had a kind of theme, but more often than not, it was just comedy.
Yeah.
And Comedy Central, they went the other way. Every episode has a definite theme that tackles a certain subject.
Yeah.
Comedy kind of takes a back foot, because the ending to Futurama, I can't remember what season. I think it may be season 8 or season 9. No, it's season 8. I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember watching it the first time and talking to a couple of friends, and they said, "Oh, that genuinely made me cry." How it ends, I was like, I don't want Futurama to make me cry, damn it.
Yeah, that's not what I'm here for.
I want to make Futurama. I want Futurama to make me laugh. So I think there's always the risk that when it jumps from one group of writers to another, there's always going to be people that say, "No, I always viewed this character as this way." So they're going to take it, say what was that, Detective Holt or something?
Captain Ray Holt.
Yeah, they're going to take him like, "Oh, he's going to be smart. Let's just bring him down a bit. Let's make him more accessible."
Yeah.
Which I think is always the death of, like, the death of an idea, because dumbing down characters never works in my opinion.
Yeah.
It ruins it in my opinion.
The characters you can think of were Scully and Hitchcock.
Scully and Hitchcock.
Who are like classic old school comedy characters, and then in the new season are just sludge. They're just there to like have shit thrown at them in a way. But I mean, if you want to talk about, as an example, like the show has great moments of heart, and one of them's been the fact that one of the detectives, one of the girls, was bisexual, but she's a very tight-lipped person. Her dad is played by Danny Trejo, so it's a very strict Catholic upbringing.
Yeah.
So her being bisexual would be a bit of an issue, and that is a great way of, although it's left-leaning, they've had a great way of expressing this character's journey whilst being a comedy and being sincere, without it being like all rainbows and parades, and but at the same time, like, it's not sinister. Like when she comes out to her parents, her mum really struggles with it, but her dad's there like, you're a little girl.
Yeah.
It's sincere in a way that you don't normally see on a lot of comedies. But I mean, the character interactions to show you like how deep they actually were, because Captain Holt is openly gay. He congratulates her, and she's like, "Why are you congratulating me? Like, I'm just being me." He's like, "Yeah, but you're finally being the real you." And whenever somebody gets to be the real them and say who they really are, the world becomes a better place. You're like, "Oh, that's nice. It's like that's the nicest thing that somebody's made in a sitcom about gay characters." Some people are like, "Oh, it's right, the representation. Like, they don't need to do that in a sitcom." It's kind of nice they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Danny Trejo.
Okay.
Just when you said Danny Trejo.
Segue, here we go.
I didn't actually know this until I went wandering on Instagram during a very, very, very boring lecture. But apparently there's going to be a live-action Dora the Explorer movie. And Danny Trejo is playing the monkey.
Okay.
Monkey. There's... the character's called Swiper. I always assumed it was a monkey.
Swiper, no swiping.
Yeah, I always assumed that was a monkey. But yeah, apparently that's going to be Danny Trejo.
I mean, it makes sense. I've did hear there being a live action Dora movie, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll come back to it whenever. But okay, I've never seen an episode of the animated show. I kind of don't know where they're gonna go with that. But yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not get Danny Trejo in there? Fuck it, that guy will do anything.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're still watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 6, please let me know, because I don't know how to keep going with it. I'm like 12 episodes in, and I'm like, when does it get to end? When can I stop watching
When
this?
does it stop?
And that's the thing is, the friend who introduced me to it is like, I don't know if I like it either. And we're just kind of looking for a bit more of a kind of validation of, is it okay that we don't like it? I feel like we should always like it regardless of how good it is.
See, I'm just talking about that, I always kind of hated that thing, like, when people say, oh, if you like something, that's it. Like, you like it all the way through. If you started watching something, you kind of on or bound to watch it all the way through. But I like to cherry pick what I like, and like, especially in a show, I like to kind of cherry pick seasons.
Yeah.
Prime example, Black Mirror. First 2 seasons, fucking brilliant, fantastic. I'm probably would quite catch quite a lot of flack for this if I said it in public, but they're not as Americanized as the last 2 seasons, seasons 3 and 4. You could tell that when it switched from being Channel 4 with Charlie Brooker and his writer writing it, first 2 seasons are very kind of grounded. You always there was a clear like A, B, C point.
Yeah.
Then you flash forward to the Americans and the American writing with Netflix. It was more of a, let's try and catch the viewers. Let's not make it obvious. Like, well, the whole point of Black Mirror is obviously you subvert expectations, but you always want a clear message at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to subvert, like, people are going to think this is going to happen. Let's do that, but let's do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Like the prime example was the episode, the horror game episode with Wyatt Russell.
All right, yeah, I know which one you're on about.
And he goes into some VR game, and it's just like, where does the whole point of it is, like, where does the game end? Like, when do you stop, or when's a good point to just, give up on the game? Like, put the game down and just go back into reality.
When do you
for a while.
tap out and come back and step away from the game?
And the whole point, and the thing is, just when he enters virtual reality, it puts him through so many layers. Eventually, he thinks he's dead, but he thinks he's alive in real life, but in the game he's dead, or in the game he's alive only, but in real life he's dead and he's just being kept alive. And it's all just some kind of big simulation. And like, right, okay, I get that, but then they lead into another point towards the end of it. I'm like, but you already had the clear message.
Yeah, that
Like,
would have been a
you
great
don't need to go
point,
beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because, like, again, you talk about cherry picking. there's still really great episodes in there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the the social ranking episode. That and the dating one for some reason is quite good. I quite like that just because if you've spent more than 5 minutes on Tinder, it's like this does get monotonous, and I do feel like there's something going on here that doesn't quite something's a bit wrong. But something seems wrong about it, other than just just judging people by their face and going yes no yes no yes no. Yeah,
I will tell you the only story that I have from Tinder before I deleted the app. I was just swiping through, seeing what ladies were available, and I seen someone that we used to go to school with, and I thought, what could happen? Maybe like the worst. What could be happens? I swipe whatever direction it is to say, okay, I'm interested. I got a message back just saying, are you Dalm Anderson from Bonus Academy? You would have graduated in 2009. I went, yeah, that's me. I generally got a message back. I thought you died. And I went, what? Yeah, genuinely, I thought in around about fifth year, there was a story going around. Apparently, you got hit by a bus when you were on holiday. I went, no.
I can't remember that at all.
Turns out what happened was someone else that we used to hang about with broke his arm when he wasn't paying attention crossing the road. A bus came past, the wing mirror clipped him and broke it. The wing mirror hit his shoulder, and I think he broke his collarbone.
Right.
And someone said, how funny would it be if he died, and that got out, and it changed from
you being
that
dead.
person broke an arm to that person is now hospitalised, to that person died, to then it got flipped onto me. I just thought, there's so many questions I want to ask, but no, I ended up just deleting the whole app. I was like, well, if people think I'm dead and that's the only response I've had, fuck this up. But genuinely, it was, thought you were dead. Motherfucker.
Well, we're quite done with this for today. Goodbye, sir.
Delete this. I shall meet women like a normal man. I will hang about in pubs.
Yeah.
And get nowhere. So lonely.
And the dark twists continue. That was the end of our Black Mirror episode.
Yeah. Still haven't watched Bandersnatch, and I have no fucking interest in watching Bandersnatch. Didn't you watch it?
I was gonna, and I really meant to do that, and I kept saying I was gonna do that, and then I didn't. So that was my experience of Bandersnatch. And one of the things with that was being there for the hype. I don't know how good it's gonna be now that it's all over and done with. Like, I'm sure at this point now somebody has plotted out every possible ending, even for the stuff that the director was like, "You'll never find it."
Yeah.
I think somebody found it, mate. I'm sorry, you really are doubting the power of the internet here, and that's a big mistake to make. But I really think that at some point somebody has logged it all, and at this point, if I turn and say, "Oh, I just watched Bandersnatch," the top response is going to be, "Really? Like a year later, you just got round to it?"
Didn't it only come out at the start of this year?
No, I think
December last year.
Please tell me it's not been that long, because otherwise I'm really going to feel some time distortion here.
I have no idea. I
actually
think it might have been December last year, because people were ripping their head off it, just going, "Oh, there's going to be a Black Mirror movie," and I'm like, it's not going to be as satisfying as you think it is. Because that was back when I was doing some RPGs, some D&D.
Initial release 28th December 2018.
Jesus.
No way. That's only 3 months ago.
Fuck.
How is my brain that distorted?
How have I just skipped January? I mean, to be fair, I think most people post the age of 18 just manage to kind of... Because there's that phenomenon that time feels like it goes quicker when you're older.
Yeah. Because
you've got more stuff to do in the day, or you don't just have enough free time. Everything's kind of time allotted.
Yeah. There's a theory as well that it's based on the fact that each day is a smaller percentage of your life the older you get.
All right.
So your brain doesn't think about it as much.
All right.
Whereas when you were a kid, you've only lived for like 5-6 years. One day is, I don't know, like maybe about not 0.5%, 0.2%.
Yeah.
Now we're at what, like 0.00001% for a whole day?
Yeah, something like that.
Who gives a shit?
I always thought it was more of the idea that when you're younger, you do whatever the hell you want. I mean, sure, you'd go to school, but you'd be home by 3 o'clock, then you'd be out and doing whatever the hell you wanted. You just had the more free time. But as you get older, you just think, right, I'm going to go and do this, I'm going to go and do that, and I'm going to have dinner, then I'm going to go back to doing this, and this. There's just more things start to fill your day.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I suppose you're more in the moment when you're a child, and you take more in, and you're learning constantly, so you're open mentally to this idea, whereas now we just kind of wake up, clock in at work, go do the thing, come back home, eat dinner, watch TV, go to bed.
Play video games for 8 hours straight, then wonder why you have no time.
Yeah, I did that actually the last couple of days.
Way too much of that. And I know for a fact I'm going to be doing that tomorrow because the Mortal Kombat beta goes live.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing the Division 2, and
I've not heard good things.
I love it.
Really?
I love it.
Nice.
This is my jam. It's a weird one because I find myself disagreeing with a few points from reviewers because they say it's hard, and I'm like, nah, it's not hard. No, you need to play with other people because you just can't beat the game playing solo. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm playing exclusively solo. Even though I actually started the Rooster Teeth Scott's clan on there, I'm like, I'm still gonna play mostly solo because I love the fact that it is hard, it is challenging, but it's challenging in an overcomable way. Let's say Dark Souls. I'm not in a way that, yes, the dodge rolling and stuff like that makes it like a meme of the Dark Souls of shooting people in the face. It does feel like the pacing and the challenging has been set to such a place where you need to be on your shit. Yeah. Which, if you think about the idea that you're basically fighting a city that's struggling to survive, yeah, I would probably need to be on my top shit.
You need to be on point. I kind of feel like that's the same way with Monster Hunter World. People always say, "Oh, you need to get a good group of people going to play that game." Bullshit. I've finished damn near every Monster Hunter game that I've bought, including World, without any party. I've just done it all myself. Mainly because it's quite hard to get a decent party going on Monster Hunter because people are assholes.
Yeah,
people suck.
People steal the best loot.
It's not the case that people steal the best loot. It's just you can't coordinate with people when there's no voice chat. There's voice chat on the PlayStation ones, but on the Switch and on the 3DS and stuff, there was no voice chat. Yeah. So you just had to rely on vibes that you were sending out, just like, dude, stop shooting the ground for no fucking reason and shoot the giant fucking dragon. How can you miss the giant fucking... Right, anyway.
Right there.
It's a giant red fire-breathing dragon. Shoot the fucking thing instead of shooting me.
Yeah, but I was watching Jim Stelling's first impressions of it, and he was complaining about the fact that it's very grey and dreary and nothing's exciting or pops out at you. And I'm like, I'm sorry you can't dual wield dildos. That'd be fucking brilliant. I'd be playing that game too if I could. But remember, this is Tom Clancy's The Division. This is a Tom Clancy game. Okay, there's some people who wake up in the morning thinking, you know what, it'd be funny to shoot a terrorist in the face today. This is the game for those people. People who like to just watch the number creep up gradually. Yeah. The better number means the good things, so you get the good things and you just have more fun with the better thing. Like, there's some people who enjoy that progression-based mindset. Of I watch the number go up, I unlock the better gun, better gun makes the number go up faster, but the number needs to be bigger this time. There's some people who wake up in the morning and love that shit. And I'm one of them. I've discovered I'm definitely one of those people, having played this game for, I think I've clocked in at about 30 hours over the past 6 days since I bought it.
It's out. I thought it might still be in beta, but no, it's out now, isn't it?
It's out on... it's out. There's stuff that's still to come. They've not finished. They're tweaking end game content. So that when that gets done, you can do raids and stuff, and you can do 8-man teams. I've teamed up with some people before. Just when there's some missions you need 3 or 4 players, which is good because it means you have to learn how to interact with the game world.
Work in a team
that way. And you can use emotes to communicate stuff. There's a text chat bit as well, or you can just have your microphone on and chat with people. Unfortunately, 2 players I was playing with were Chinese. And my Mandarin is how you would say non-existent. So, was using mostly the emotes for stop, wait, and go and stuff because it would translate to Mandarin for those guys. Yeah. Whereas me just speaking, that's not going to get us anywhere fast.
As I found out, trying to do a presentation with a group of Germans, it's Scottish accents are not the best accents for explanations when the other person doesn't speak great English.
Yeah, this is not the beginner level.
No, especially mine, because I have this weird hybrid Glaswegian Edinburgh accent. Or not Edinburgh accent, this weird Falkirk Glaswegian accent. On a dime turn, I can go from just normal speaking voice to just, what you're going to do is this, and we're going to divide it like that. Then I don't know what the hell you're doing, but then
Yeah.
It fucks around with people's heads, and most German people are just going, "What is the bearded man thing?" I know I said I don't do impressions, but that one's great. Fuck you.
Yeah. But yeah, I was playing with those guys, and when you rock up with more than just yourself, if you're used to just playing by yourself, you wreck everything.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine, like, I don't know what you're going to have to put down for me to fight with 7 other people, and me are going to go fuck something up. They are actually going to have to use tanks in this game. At this point, there is
I thought
no
that was the
way.
whole point of the game. The whole point in Division was that there was vehicles and stuff scattered about that you could take point on.
No.
Yeah.
It's always been, like, on the ground, like, solo or, like, small team strike forces.
Alright.
I've fought, like, tough opponents and stuff. Like, there's an enemy called Roach, and you can basically, like, you've just freed the president, which sounds hyperbolic, but it's not all like that in a weird way. It's quite grounded.
Okay.
But you have just freed the president. He's been evacuated. You've been told to make it out on foot. Cheers, boss. I'm pretty sure there's more than room for just you up there on that helicopter, and not going to affect anybody if I go out. But no, I had to go out and fight a guy called Roach, who was heavily armored and has, even like in the game's files and even in the Wikipedia and the Reddits and stuff, are like trying to figure out how to beat this guy. He's been modded from the standard model to have an even smaller critical hitbox.
Fuck that.
And I got to hit it with an LMG about 100 times before his armor starts to break.
Jesus Christ.
I was not pleased.
That's too much, man.
But it was good. I spent about 90 minutes fighting him, and I was absolutely thrilled when I finished. I jumped at my chair. I was like, I did it! He's fucking dead! And then I realised there was other people I still had to kill, so I went right back into the game. Because I've done that before, where you fight the main boss guy, and then everyone else that's on the map is still active and is still gunning for you. Like, they don't care. They just go, hey, look, he stood up. Bang, double barrels in the chest. And you die instantly. Because, like, once you're done fighting these guys, you've got nothing left in the tank. You're typically waiting, like, the timing of your reloads in this game has to be fucking unbelievable. So, like, you need to know when you're safe. Like, you can't just say, I'll just heal. Because your healing animation takes 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And in those 5 seconds, an enemy can dish out a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
And I had that happen to me earlier. It was like, oh, I'll just quickly grab a heal. Guy ran around the corner with an SMG, sprayed me full of bullets, and I dropped dead. I just fought the boss. Could you fuck off for 5 minutes? Give me like the 30 seconds I need to properly heal myself. Reload animations as well. I mostly run LMGs. Reloading an LMG.
Belt fed.
Open the chamber, take the thing out, chuck away the old stuff, put the new stuff in, put it in, clock in, ready to go.
But that point, you've got a knife in the back of your head.
I actually did find that somehow, like, you don't see a lot of your damage. Like, so if I get shot, you don't see the bullet hole. I did find at one point, because I looked down sights and could see something blocking my view. I thought, what the fuck's that? Zoom back out to, like, there's a knife stuck in my arm. That's not a thing. Nobody's attacked me with a knife yet. I don't know. I've never seen a knife. Everyone who, like, melee attacks you either with the butt of the gun or with a police baton. I've never seen a knife in the game. How the fuck did I get, like, a proper knife in my arm? What the fuck happened to that? So I randomly got knifed without knowing it. But yeah, the LMG reload animation takes forever. And in a weird way, they've committed, I want to say it's like a cardinal sin of gaming, but I can't really decide if it is or not. If I can't reload in time and an enemy comes on the corner, my option should be to switch to my secondary or my tertiary gun.
Yeah.
Those take longer than reloading.
And that should always be switching to your sidearm should be quicker than reloading.
Yeah. And yet, here I am with several deaths caused by me going, oh shit, changed down to my pistol, and then all of a sudden getting, like, ratted in the face with a rifle several times, and it's harsh.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. Again, going back to Monster Hunter, the game's all about like big, huge, massive, like, fantasy swords and all these cool. All your weapons are kind of these massive, like, epic-looking swords, but they all require sharpening. So you'll think, right, I'm at a safe spot. The Rathalos isn't going to get me, so you start sharpening your sword. Then all of a sudden, a tree falls behind you. Then this thing comes herring out of nowhere, and they fuck with you because you'll think, all right, it's not going to get me. Then it'll do a tail flip attack, poison you, and send you flying in the air. So by the time you've backed down, you have this a tiniest sliver of green health left, and a massive bar of red.
Yeah.
And then you're poisoned. So by the time you get back up, you're like, oh, you've got the dizzy animation. You snap at that, dead. Like, you didn't even get a chance to
I
breathe.
think I've noticed that fire's a big deal in the Division. Like, if you see a gas can, shoot the gas can. I guarantee you it's
If
going
you
to
see
work.
a red barrel, shoot that fucking red barrel.
And there's some of them. There's so many. I walked into it was supposed to be like a not like a FEMA camp where it's like an environmental disaster response team or whatever. It was named something different because the legal obligations.
Yeah.
For example, what was supposed to be the CDC is the DCD.
DCT.
And I'm like, I didn't even realize it was a CDC in Washington, but okay, but there's a Department of
Controlling diseases.
I think it actually is the Department of Controlling Diseases, and that turned into a fucking horror movie quick. Like, most of it's kind of action adventure. There's an aspect of horror to it. Do you remember the like intro to The Walking Dead, where it's like the door that's like don't open dead inside?
Yeah.
Or although you could read it, don't dead open inside. You're like, hey,
Someone clearly didn't run that by other people.
you Englished bad. Why? But you go into there, and there are bodies everywhere, because this is where the autopsy have been happening while they've been figuring out what is causing the disease that causes the Division games to happen.
All right.
There are bodies stacked to the fucking roof in places, and it's horrific. I don't know why. I was watching it, I was like, this is really not okay.
Like,
Like,
fucked up.
it's when I think it's the like attrition, because you go through the entire building, and from like the fucking offices where it's just like middle management, all the way down to the mortician's like basement, it is non-stop corpses, biological waste, like surgical gowns. Like, how it's almost like you realize how big this is. Like, oh yeah, I'm running in an abandoned city because everyone's dead, and you realize, oh wait, that means everyone is dead. And there's just something that hits you when you're doing this mission as you walk through, and every now and again you're ambushed by people, and you're like, I just walked through a hall of corpses, and I'm making like 5 more in here. There's just something that's really offsetting about the whole thing, and I'm like, this is amazing. How did they do this to me? I'm not used to this kind of like weird psychological warfare that's going on, but this is awesome. But yeah, it was. I'd really recommend it if you've probably heard bad things. It's not a game for everyone.
I've heard bad things about the beta, but I don't know. Thinking about it, all the person said was, they didn't dig it, so I don't know if that's just maybe the beta was buggy, maybe they didn't dig the gameplay or something. But
the beta was not good. I will say that. I got kicked out of it almost on a regular basis. I would go in, launch a session, get kicked out, launch a new session, and get a good time for the next couple hours, and then get kicked out. But it must be on for like 2 or 3 hours at a go. But I mean, I played almost 8 hours straight on Saturday or Sunday. Absolute fucking riot. I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of myself. So.
I assume it's going down the rabbit hole that all shooter games are going down nowadays, and that's the Battle Royale setting. I'm guessing it has a Battle Royale.
Don't think so. I know there's a conflict mode, but that is just like normal PvP. And there's the Dark Zone, which is you're launched into an area of the map to grab sweet loot, like top tier loot, and extract it. And at that point, I mean, that was there in Division 1, which is, I think predates the whole Battle Royale thing. But I don't know. But once you put it on, like, to get extracted, people can come after you. They know where you are.
Right.
But that's its own game type. It's not like Battle Royale. So I would say that it's avoided that. For now, anyway. There's always plenty of time to patch.
Yeah, there's always plenty of time to add in a Battle Royale, but I have noticed that there's been less about the whole Battle Royale thing, because I haven't heard much about PUBG. Fortnite's kind of dying away.
PUBG's been dead for a while. Fortnite...
I wouldn't really say Fortnite's dying away. I think it's just getting quieter.
Fortnite has been eclipsed in the media by Apex Legends.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you that.
Which just launched its new season and haven't played since the Division came out, so...
Yeah, I understand.
It's a good game, though. Apex is such a good fucking game.
It's ridiculous.
I'm like, how did you release this for free?
Yeah, although the latest rumour about Apex is that the Titans from Titanfall are going to get put in.
Oh.
Which is just going to be, if they can pull off, 100 people in a server, every so often somebody gets a giant fucking robot. Fair play to, is it Frostbite Studios?
Shit, I can't remember.
It's
No, it's
EA.
Respawn.
Respawn, that's the boys.
Yeah.
If they can pull that off, fucking well done.
Yeah, because I forgot. I was like, oh man, I wanted to know more about this world. Like, actually quite interested in it, because it's been presented in a really great way, where it's like you're watching their sports.
Yeah.
Apex Legends is their sports. So it's like, oh, I want to see like the world though, and somebody goes, you know, it's the Titanfall world. I'm like, oh, Oh, I did not know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Can I go play more Titanfall, please?
Titanfall, it's one of those games that people always say, right off, it's just one of those like mech games. Like, it is. I'm not gonna lie, at its core, it is a mech game, but it's totally different from any other mech game that you'll play.
Yeah. It's made with that premium, like, the best of Call of Duty. Like, the best of the genetics from that modern era shooter ramped up to include the kind of, like, futuristic shooter. And then also throwing mech battles on top of it.
Yeah, and the mech battles do get pretty fucking tasty. Obviously, mobility's kind of reduced, but at the same time, there's enough defensive options and then there's enough offensive options to kind of make it fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely recommend Titanfall to anybody, and that's come from someone who's not a huge shooter. It's been well evidenced throughout the podcast. I'm a huge fighting game fan, but
Yeah.
if it comes to shooters, I'll maybe throw down and play a couple games of Modern Warfare COD 4.
Yeah.
Like the original. I've not played the remastered. I can't be fucking arsed.
Apparently the remaster nails it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of, even the online, because that was something a lot of people were a bit kind of on.
Yeah. I think when it first came out, I refused to buy, was it Infinite Warfare?
That was such a bad game. I've
With
played that game all the way
fucking Jon Snow and Conor McGregor.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, fuck that game. But I think it's out. I actually think my brother might own it. If it's on the PlayStation 4, I'm definitely going to download it soon because I'm feeling.
If you get a chance, I'd give it a go. Because a lot of people have said it actually captures the feel and it's a great nostalgia trip. But yeah, just quick aside for Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he's retiring.
He's retired, but also he might have a sexual assault allegation against him.
Fuck it.
And it's being investigated by, I think it's New York. I think New York Police Department are investigating it. But yeah, his retirement seems like the biggest load of shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, he's going to be back.
I'm not
The
a
minute
big- yeah.
someone announced, the minute Floyd Mayweather says, I'm looking for a new fight, Conor McGregor's going to be up there. He wants another 10 million.
That's the thing for me is there's no way he is retiring in the... He's in still good form. Yeah, he lost to Khabib, but
Yeah.
everyone's going to lose to Khabib.
Yeah,
That
Khabib's
man's a machine.
He's an animal. The guy's insane.
Can't fight that. Fuck off.
No.
He's bred for war. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
That man is bred for combat.
And
We were talking about last time Mike Tyson and how he can still move like that. I bet Khabib could be near enough the same age as Tyson and still be able to fight competitively.
And I think what's happened is he has seen how much a guy can make for a comeback fight, like just one last time out of retirement, or might just to restart the career. Because when people restart their career in MMA, they come out to a pretty decent fanfare.
Yeah.
And he's got it down. He's in decent shape. He maybe just wants to take a couple of years off.
Yeah.
And he can just bill it as, I'm retiring, and then he'll come back in a couple of years' time. There's no way he's done.
Nah.
Nah, I'm sorry. Guy's too smart for that.
It's weird to say that Conor McGregor's smart, but yeah, I don't think he's in any way, shape, or form done with the UFC. I think you've hit the nail on the head that he's just wanting a couple of years off, and he thinks the best way to do it is just retire, which is fair play to him because he has been very, very public for a good while now. I think maybe even close to a decade he's been doing UFC. I think he's only really rose to prominence in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. But he's spent those last 2-3 years at the top of the...
Yeah.
And because he's such a figure, everything he's done has been watched.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense for him to take time off, go away. I think he's got a couple of kids.
I think he's maybe got one, maybe a year old, and he's got another one on the way, or he might have two very young kids.
Yeah. I'd just take the time off, go do your thing.
Yeah, he is still quite young. I think he might only just be in his early 30s or very, very late to mid 20s. I don't think he's that old. He could always go back to it.
Yeah, and he can come back to big fanfare and the return of the champ, and
Yeah.
here comes the scrappy upstart Irishman
Here
again.
comes the Notorious.
Yeah. I see no reason for this to be anything other than just a PR stunt. And it's worked. And then, because I initially assumed it's a PR stunt and nothing else, and I did see that there's something about him being investigated for a sexual assault. And ooh, maybe
Okay.
there's another reason. Ooh, taking time off for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe you're going to go and get that sorted out first.
Yeah, there was one thing we've been to dance around, though, is Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I've seen it. You went to see it last week?
Yeah, went to see it on Wednesday.
Right, before we get into this, spoiler alert, we've both seen.
You can't really discuss the movie
Yeah.
like flaws and positives without discussing the movie in total.
Yeah. So we'll put a spoiler warning here. But for those who kind of want to stick around and maybe hear some spoiler-free reviews without spoiling it, what would you say? Just an overall, what number would you put to it? Just an overall kind of review of it.
It's very hard to give just like a it's like a 7.
Like an out of 10, yeah.
I honestly, I'd say it's a 7. It is not the best.
Yeah.
It has issues. It has really good moments, and I think some of those are very important to understanding characters later on.
Yeah.
As it's important for somebody who wants to complete. It's obviously an obligation for anyone who wants to complete the MCU experience.
Yeah.
But whereas I've not seen like the Ant-Man movies, I'm still most of the way through. Like I've seen some of them, or I've seen chunks of them, but I don't think I need to see those movies to understand the Avengers storylines where Ant-Man's involved.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, definitely, because that leads quite. That
will now lead into Endgame
Infinity
and stuff.
War. Not Endgame, but the first one, it's a good flick. You can tell that Edgar Wright was at the helm at one point.
I enjoyed what I saw of it. I saw the first hour.
No, it's a good film.
So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I was like, I'll get to it. I say that a lot, though, so
yeah,
I'll get to it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I think you need to see this one to understand why she's such a big deal, because the last 10 minutes of this movie show you exactly, and the little there's a mid credit scene, which is good because I moved it away from the end credits to the mid credits. This will explain how she comes back, why she's important, and why she is going to matter to the issue of Thanos.
Yeah,
the big purple elephant in the room. So yeah, you're spoiler free.
For me, it's a solid 6.5. For me, the first half of the movie is way too slow. For me, Brie Larson doesn't do enough to be likable. She's just kind of there for most of the film.
Yeah.
But I think that's more to do with how they're setting up the character of Veers, or actual name in the as you find it later on in the movie. I think they need to do that, this kind of stoic, like, kind of, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and then you can come along for the ride or whatever. The last half of the movie,
I don't think you're supposed to go on, like, I think you're supposed to be rooting for her, but not loving her.
No, yeah, she's definitely the hero of the movie, but at the same time, you're not thinking, oh, I love this character, she's the be all and end all of superheroes. You just think, yeah, she's going to get a job done. Like, let's follow this story, because there's going to be a positive outcome to it. I would agree with you that the last third of the last act of the movie is definitely where this comes alive, because you get to see the strongest Avengers she's been dubbed. But that in turn is where I kind of find the problem, because even in the comics they acknowledge that she's not as powerful as Thor.
I know, but
that's just a little nerd bugbear.
That's the nerd bugbear that has to deal with the fact that there's the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
which is
the
totally
Marvel
different.
Comics Universe.
Yeah, and I kind of dig.
If you want to sit and like pour through all the lore of the Marvel Comics Universe to make a point about a movie, you're kind of fucked. Like, you've already kind of lost the battle. Nobody's gonna go, well, listen to him. He's read comic books for 20 years and is totally sane and has no bias at all.
Yeah. One thing that I did really enjoy about the movie is the twist.
Yeah, that's where we're saying we need to spoil this movie to talk about it, because this movie is so related to memories and who people are and who they like, how different things relate to things, and basically in a weird way kind of truth in itself. Yeah. So you can't really spoil things, or you can't really talk about it without spoiling it. Yeah. So
a solid 6.5 movie, not the greatest example of a solo Marvel movie, but effects fucking fantastic.
Oh, just
the energy,
the CGI,
effects.
Jesus Christ.
The Super Saiyan moment. Yeah, it's pretty fucking awesome to see.
I'm glad you're calling it Super Saiyan as well, because it is quite clearly...
It's the fucking Super Saiyan moment.
It's clearly Super Saiyan Captain Marvel.
At one point, like, because they do the panning shot where the camera's kind of rising up, her eyes go from the kind of human to the glow, then the hair stands on it. I'm like, that is fucking... that is Dragon Ball Z, son.
Cack her out with like a word, sir.
Goku's just going, excuse me.
And I do think as well, there's a lot of people who think it's being massively downvoted because Brie Larson shared a feminist opinion, because she pointed out there's a lot of white people in certain rooms. How dare she? Yeah, like, there's a lot of white men involved in reviewing comic book movies. No one is surprised by
Yeah.
that. If you're butthurt by that,
At this
could
stage-
you take a fucking seat, son?
Yeah. At this stage, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
That's like saying the only two human beings in this room are white people. That's not racist. That is 100% fact.
Yes.
Why are you getting angry about facts?
I am 1/16.
Excuse me,
Shut
I
up.
am 7/8 Inuit, so I'm not technically white.
My grandfather's grandfather's grandfather once saw a dark-skinned person.
My great grandpappy owned them slaves.
We're practically family.
Why we raised each other.
Oh boy, that's not how that works. Oh boy.
Just, Dad, sit down.
Dad, just go back to the whiskey. It's fine. But
What are you talking about?
and it'll get a little bit of a bump because it's a female lead, and yes, it is very strange that we're like 12 years into the MCU and just getting the first female fronted.
Yeah.
Like, there's been plenty of great female characters in the MCU.
I genuinely would have preferred that the first female-led Marvel movie would have been Black Widow,
Yeah.
because her backstory is so fucking interesting.
And her potential's great as well.
the potential is
And
great.
it's Scarlett Johansson. No one is not going to go see that movie.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And the amount of the potential for it to go in different, unique directions and set up this badass are limitless. I think that would have been a better movie, but at the same time, the direction that they're going, it makes sense for them to make Captain Marvel before they go and focus on
Yeah.
Black Widow or whatever.
I think if they were going to do a Black Widow movie,
Which I think they are in 2020.
they should have done it about the time of Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
because it would fit with the whole the almost kind of like Cold War type feel of Winter Soldier and explain a lot and help fill in gaps and stuff, but they've missed the boat on that one.
Yeah.
I actually wish they'd kind of done Captain Marvel a little sooner, because it's a Marvel origin story, and I think they kind of should have got those out of the way.
Yeah, I don't think they're even remotely done with origin stories.
Yeah.
Because the next one we've got, after Captain Marvel, we have Nova, who is the character's name is either Sam Alexander, who's kind of Kid Nova, he gets called in the later comics, and there's the original Nova, is a guy called Richard Rider. He is basically Green Lantern. The ring falls to Earth, or the Nova Corps helmet falls to Earth, and then he gets access to the Nova Force, or I think, is it the Prime Force? Can't fucking remember. That's been touted to be coming up soon. That's going to be another origin movie. Then they're doing the Eternals with Luke Evans playing Hercules in that movie, which I think would be pretty cool. But it's a missed opportunity to have Luke Evans play Namor, because the two of them are fucking identical.
I mean,
And it's got the chick. It's got the girl that plays 11 in Stranger Things. She's going to be in Eternals somewhere. I kind of hope that she's playing a superhero, not just I'm the human.
Yeah, I kind of wish Luke Evans used more, but people really need to learn to use him, right? I mean, yeah, he did Gaston, and he bulked up a fair amount for that.
Fuck, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, Hercules, really? Hercules?
Yeah. You know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played that guy.
Dwayne Johnson is a thing. Like, people are aware of this, and I know he's tied into Black Adam for Shazam.
He's not even in the movie.
He's not in it anymore.
The bad guy in it is Mark Strong.
I think I know who that is, but
If you've played anything that
Actually,
has
yeah,
Warhammer 40k slapped on it, he's been in it somewhere.
I saw the trailer for that, and actually looks all right.
Yeah.
If it's just self-aware enough, if it's just cheeky enough about it, I think it could get away with the whole kind of Daredevil.
I think I like Zach Levi enough to probably go and see Shazam, because I'm a huge fan of Chuck. It's a show that I'm quite glad I stuck through to the end.
Yeah. There's something I wanted to just quickly touch on before we get into review.
Okay.
And it was the fact that the Avengers Endgame posters came out.
Yeah.
And accidentally spoiled something.
Yeah.
They spoiled that the Princess of Wakanda is dead.
Shuri.
Shuri, yeah. Shuri didn't make it. And because nobody saw it, everyone was like, we don't know if she's okay or not.
Yeah, it's in the trailer.
She ain't okay.
It's in the trailer. There's a bit
where...
where...
No, but from like Avengers, like from the end of Infinity War, you kind of didn't technically know. Like, you hadn't seen the body, so we can't really confirm.
Yeah.
And then it didn't really catch on until someone went, hey, like all the living have a colour poster, all the dead have a black and white poster. Yeah. Hey.
I'm more surprised, because I've seen quite a few of these, the the colour, like the purple and black and white posters. I'm more surprised that Happy, Jon Favreau's character, is still alive. Like, what pivotal point does he serve in the Marvel universe? But a lot of people, I did hear a lot of people, or see a lot of comments on Instagram specifically saying, if they've killed Aunt May, I'm going to snap Kevin Feige's neck.
She dies enough.
Just leave her alone.
We've had quite enough of this nonsense, sir. So yeah, I think we can now get into spoiler territory for Captain Marvel. So hopefully I remember to put in some kind of time code to say this is where the spoilers end.
Yeah, skip to here.
But yeah, as we say, with the whole movie being something to do with memories and the truth and the reveals of like who is related to who and in what way, you start off knowing Captain Marvel as Verge, which is her name as part of the Kree, and
Kree Star Force, I think she's part of.
Yeah, and you are led to assume that she is a Kree soldier. She's part of the strike force with Jude Law's character, who is actually quite a lot of fun.
I can't remember his name.
I googled it. I've got it here. Yon Rog.
Yon Rog,
yeah, Yon Rog. I feel like there was a bit too much foreshadowing though with their sparring session at the start of the day. I did like the reveal of her like waking up and then the city and the technological kind of marvel that's been built by the Kree. And you're like, ooh, this is nice.
Cool.
And then they go into like the kind of training hall, do some sparring. At that point, the heavy-handed kind of, you need to control your emotions. Your emotions are so important to who you are as a Kree, and it's so important to your gift.
Yeah.
Like, great, now I know they're going to solve everything with emotions by the end of this film. What a twist. It turns out that emotions will be what sets her free in the end.
Yeah.
God fucking damn it.
What bugged me is just, I knew for a fact that going into this movie, I knew for a fact that they were going to give her some kind of limiter. And as soon as they said, oh, you need to control your emotions, I'm like, don't give me this Smallville Superman bullshit when you're, oh, you must learn to control yourself, Clark, because you're the strongest being on the planet. If you fart, you could blow up Kansas. Like, bullshit.
Come on, let him be a fucking freak.
Just do it a different way. Then at one point, when she's still having the conversation with Yon Rog, you see a little disc sort of flickering off and on her neck. I'm like,
I can't remember if it's with Yon Rog or I know they show it during the conversation with the Central Intelligence.
Supreme Intelligence,
yeah. And if the word Supreme Intelligence doesn't kind of also heavily foreshadow how this movie turns out, you're in for a fucking wild ride. But yeah, once you see those little red flags go up, you're like, I know how this is roughly going to go. However, even though you know how things might turn out from the start, because it's fairly predictable, the foreshadowing's a little too heavy.
Yeah, it's very heavy-handed.
While they're on the Kree homeworld, the execution is really, really good. Like, when they actually show you the truth of how Verge came to be, you're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But the first part, I think that's where we have a lot of our criticisms. Just, I think it needed another pass.
Yeah, I think the way it's landed, it does its job. I think it's very workmanlike in that respect. It doesn't do anything that just blows your fucking mind. It's just very, right, we get that people are done with the origin story, so we're going to get the origin part done as quick as possible.
Yeah. It's weird. I think they went for the presenting it out of order.
Yeah.
As a deliberate thing of saying, this is not going to be the same story structure as all the other Marvel movies. We'll introduce her. We'll introduce her and then break it, twist it, and then reverse it back around on itself for the reveal that Verge is actually a combination of, and it's a weird one because the comics and the movie have kind of diverged a little bit on how she came to be, but she was helping she was a human woman helping a Kree scientist who was Captain Marvel, working under the name of Carol Danvers. Oh no, wait, she was somebody else.
She was Wendy Sawyers.
Yeah, she was Wendy Sawyers, but Carol Danvers was a human helping her, and during an accident or during a shooting
test. It was a test flight?
Test flight of a new supersonic or light speed engine.
Light speed engine.
She crashed and there was a shootout and an explosion that caused her, like, it's weird that the movie says the power came to her from the generator, whereas the comic books say that the radiation smashed the DNA out of Captain Marvel into Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically the movie hasn't ruled that out, but the way because nobody actually knows in the movie, it's all just a bunch of military people being like, well, this must have happened. It must be from the generator. They wouldn't know that the DNA is mixed. So it's a weird one, but it's a weird thing that I picked up. I'm going like, hey, they said something different, but at the same time, it could still happen the way the comic book said it did.
Yeah.
Maybe, technically. I don't know.
I think it's because, and again, one of my other criticisms of the movie we'll get to later, something that happens towards the end, is the generator uses the Tesseract energy to kind of create as a sort of propulsion system for the Lightspeed engine.
Yeah.
So I think she just absorbs the full energy of the Lightspeed engine. That I think that's what gives it her powers. But I think you might be right there. It might be because Captain Marvel is still in the vicinity. Maybe the energy spliced her DNA or something.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be according to what I read, was that it literally it punches the DNA out of her into Carol Danvers, and then the two kind of merge together.
Yeah.
In a way, on a genetic level, which allows her to use Kree stuff, and then Jude Law's character, Jon Rog, takes the unconscious woman out because he goes, I don't know what happened, but I guess we could just take you and figure it out later.
Yeah, I think we can just use a human battery for the next couple of years.
Yeah, so he...
and then I suppose he does give her a blood transfusion as well. That's why she's got the blue blood at the start of the movie.
Yeah, which it does explain as well. I was like, well, wait, how was she bleeding blue earlier in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they actually do go to the length of explaining how shit happened because there is a lot of stuff going on with memory, false identity as well due to the enemy, or the initial enemy.
Yeah, who are seen as the enemy, but they just turned out to be not even a threat.
Yeah, just innocent, actual innocent aliens.
Yeah, just refugees.
What's their name again?
The Skrulls.
The Skrull, right.
To give you a bit of backstory, the Skrulls are the initial... They were one of the initial alien bad guys in the Marvel comics. They could take any shape, they could take any form. Doesn't matter if they had the superhero, they had the kind of meta gene, as they call it in the DC universe. Doesn't matter if they had, mutant genes. The Skrulls could copy that person and use their abilities.
Yeah,
and they were always bad guys. They were always hell bent on invasion, completely overtaking planets, stripping them of their resources, then moving on. Always bad guys. And in the Secret Invasion arc, that's what happens. Skrulls land on Earth, they target key individuals, and then they realise that the Avengers, as a group of people, are some of the strongest individuals on the planet. Let's infiltrate them, then we'll use them to try and take over the world, because then they can take, one can become Thor, and then, because he can change his hand to basically be Thor, so he can pick up Mjolnir.
Yeah.
A guy can become Hulk, and then he can absorb gamma radiation. And then there's the Super Skrull that absorbs all the powers of the Fantastic Four, which on paper looks stupid because he's got one rock fist, one fire fist, his body's invisible and his neck's all fucking stretchy. But put that in a comic book setting, he's fucking overpowered.
Yeah,
because he's also got the mind of Reed Richards, and Reed Richards is one of the smartest motherfuckers in the Marvel universe. Not to mention the most arrogant son of a bitch in the Marvel comic universe.
Yeah,
puts Tony Stark to shame.
It's a weird thing though, because I don't know how they're going to handle, because part of what comes across during the whole revelations of what's actually going on is that the Skrull are not actually an invading horde of evil maniacal monsters. They're refugees. Yeah,
they just want a planet or a place to call home.
And you eventually, I was talking about with the heavy foreshadowing of the Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah.
The Kree might be a little bit fascist.
Yes.
Little bit of a kind of analogy for certain Nazi Germany types.
Yeah. I think it was at the point where you see Ronan the Accuser from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was one of the other big red flags.
These are bad guys.
Yeah, you go, oh wait, I've been accidentally cheering on the bad guys for the last 40, 50 minutes.
40, 50 minutes.
You're like, oh dear, and you realise what's going on. And you kind of left with all of the questions. You think, but how are they? Because I remember you told me the Skrull are the bad guys.
Yeah.
How are they going to kind of marry those two? Or is it just going to be a divergence between comic books and the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I think I've kind of identified two ways that it could go. One, they diverge, and I don't know why I have the fucking pen.
Yeah.
That can just go down there.
You picked up a pen, so it's just lecturing. Is it? Well, my good man, I shall tell you exactly what I believe.
I present my hypothesis. But first scenario, they diverge from the comic books. The Skrull are just refugees. They just want to belong. They're very peaceful. Obviously, they'll fight if they need to. As one of the main Skrull kind of says, we've both done horrible things. I'll kill to keep my family safe. That kind of bullshit. Yeah. They do that. Second one is where they keep that particular group of Skrulls peaceful, but then there's the overarching race that are all just, fuck it, we want planets. We want to take over shit. Personally, I think 2 is a bit of a cop-out. Because I've established that it's just, no, let's do something different for the comic books. Let's establish ourselves as something new. Let's have these peaceful Skrulls.
Yeah.
But in my mind, Marvel like money. Or sorry, Disney like money.
Yeah.
So I think they might just say, well, let's just make them peaceful, peace-loving Skrulls, and let's have evil Skrulls that are going to start the Secret Invasion video or Secret Invasion movie.
I think they could do something along those lines of, we have this group who are... They've been scattered since this great war between the Kree and the Skrull, and we don't know how long ago that was, but by the sounds of it, it's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
So at that point, you could have like a splinter group, heads off to Earth, and they become the part of the Skrull during the Captain Marvel movie.
Mm.
That would make sense in that context, but then we don't actually hear anything else about the war, other than the fact it's devolved into a kind of guerrilla stage where it's Kree strike forces going out to deal with small amounts of Skrull.
Mm.
So at that point, do you have like a kind of resurgent Skrull come in, take over, knock out a good chunk of the Kree Empire, and then launch their invasion, and then the secret invasion of Earth, and make that into part of a movie? Or do we just ignore that part of the comic books in general? Because do we need to do all those?
I don't really say it's necessary, because I think if you look at the current Marvel timeline, I get that there's the rumour that Endgame's going to hit the reset button and everyone's going to go back to what's happened before. Personally, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to kind of strike that the people are back, but they're still in aftermath.
Yeah.
But the Kree homeworld is Xandar. That is gone now.
Right.
Thanos wiped it out in retaliation for Ronan taking the Power Stone and using it for himself. Mm. He went to the Nova headquarters, basically destroyed Nova headquarters and just decimated the rest of Xandar and took the Power Stone. Mm-hmm. So it could be that maybe the Skrulls saying, oh, the Kree are gone. We're free. We can do whatever we want. Maybe they're just becoming rampant. Maybe there's a bit...
Yeah.
Obviously, with overpopulation, what the fuck? Overpopulation, maybe that leads to a problem. Maybe there's one radical Kree that rises up saying, we are the dominant species, we can spread our influence across the galaxy. Then maybe that leads them into a secret invasion. I
think they don't do it. I actually think you look at it right now, there's too much for Marvel to do, and you've got to understand this bubble will burst.
I think we've maybe got another 5 years of good Marvel movies left.
I don't think we've got time to do the Secret Invasion movie.
I don't even think we've got time to do the much coveted Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah.
I think and also even the X-Men, I think we're going to get maybe 1, maybe 2 good X-Men movies before they decide.
I think they almost we need to step away from, because it's still good, it's still great. I'm still loving this superhero renaissance that we've been having for the last couple of years. But it kind of needs to end before it goes to shit. Yeah, before it goes, down the Arnold Schwarzenegger Batman and Robin type route. Actually, speaking of Arnie, people said, really, Captain Marvel has to crash into a blockbuster to show it's the 90s? That's not the most 90s thing in that movie. Her shooting, like, on reflex at Arnold Schwarzenegger and the True Lies cutout, that had me fucking rolling. I don't know why. I was like, that's the most 90s thing I've ever seen. It's pretty good. In a blockbuster, a True Lies poster, and you just go, oh shit, and blast off Arnie's head, leaving Sigourney Weaver's face just kind of going, really? With the kind of like mean mugging stare, like, that's hilarious. Right. On the 90s, 1995 it's set in. I think so, yeah. Just going on that, the effects that they used to make Clark Gregg and Samuel L. Jackson look younger, pretty on point. Yeah, I dare say that they didn't really need to use that much on Samuel L. Jackson. I reckon he just grew his hair back and dyed it. It doesn't look like there's much there. Yeah, it was a very well done job, and that's where once she's on Earth and once everything's kind of set in motion for that's where I take it gets really good. Yeah, that's when it picks up. The middle third of Carol Danvers and Nick Fury kind of playing this weird kind of cat and mouse game, and then realizing they have to work together to solve some issues, because at this point Nick Fury knows nothing.
Yeah, he's essentially just a beat cop. He's just he works for Shield, but Shield, the most that they do is just investigate the odd alien.
Yeah. Shield isn't
suspect.
Shield at this point. It's a group of people trying to figure out what's going to be the next big issue now that the Cold War's kind of done. And as Nick Fury puts it, I was just sitting in my office trying to write up a report to explain where I think the next enemy is going to come from, and he picked the aliens. And turns out he's right.
Yeah, it turns out there's a shit ton of them.
Yeah, so he has basically the golden ticket to try and figure out what's going to happen next in the world, and it's Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
And those two working together and figuring stuff out and working as a team is probably my favourite part of the movie.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. It does pay off the most when he's just, because it's been pegged that the two main characters is going to be a very, very young Nick Fury and this supremely powerful Carol Danvers. I mean, you see them interact. There's that kind of sense of, this works. I'm happy to see more of this.
Yeah, I could sit and watch this whole, like, if this whole 90-minute movie was just those two, I'd be okay with it, because it's good buddy cop material.
Oh yeah,
and it works for some reason, and it was fun. It's that thing I mentioned it before we started. That part of the movie is what DC is jealous of when it comes to Marvel. There's something about the Marvel movies that's got that kind of buddy friendly attitude where you could just walk in, throw on the movie, and just casually chill and hang out. Whereas the DC is trying to be super serious.
Yeah, I think they've
never really nails it.
I think they've majorly just ditched the whole we're super serious thing. Yeah. Because, I mean, Shazam, you look at any of the trailers for that, he's fucking flossing, he's just saying, I'm a kid and I have the power of fucking Hercules and the strength of Solomon and stuff.
Oh, did he actually floss?
Yeah, he did the fucking thing.
For fuck's sake. That's going to date that movie so bad.
Yeah, I think they cut it out. I hope they cut it out, because I haven't seen it since.
Yeah.
If he does it in the movie, I'm going to find Zach Levi and punch him in the face. Though the dude's fucking jacked now, so he'd probably crush my head or something like that.
Yeah. He was on an episode of Rooster Teeth podcast. Again, he came back a couple years ago, I think. He was just on one and then popped back on recently. I think he was doing press for Shazam. And
yeah, I think he's got, because he was on an episode of Try Not to Laugh on Smosh.
All right.
But I actually find that I'm watching Smosh more when it's not got the two dudes on it. It's Anthony and Ian. As soon as Anthony left, I don't know why, I started actually finding it quite funny. Don't know what the hell it is.
It's weird, because I've been listening, obviously, to the whole thing going on with
Defy Media.
Smosh and Defy Media and stuff, and you're the only person I've heard say that.
Well.
But yeah, anyway, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Smosh later.
That was actually all I wanted to say.
That was Smosh. I meant to ask, just one of my questions on this was,
because I lost my train of thought
there. Before you watched this movie, did you know about how Carol Danvers becomes Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Right.
I knew that. Obviously, I didn't read a lot of Captain Marvel books, because when I was originally introduced to Captain Marvel was the dude, and Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel.
Okay.
It's only in recent iterations of the comic book when she's having conversations with, I want to say, it's another female superhero. I genuinely think it might be someone like Jean Grey or Rogue or something. It was definitely a female Marvel superhero. As you can tell, I don't know that fucking many. But
because there aren't that many.
Yeah, there are not that many. It's almost like it was made by a bunch of white dudes. But
for the enjoyment of white dudes, not gonna lie.
Yeah. But she's having a conversation with another female superhero, and she basically says to her, "It's Wasp. It's fucking."
The energy there. Dom almost jumped out his seat a little bit there, just pointed. It's Wasp.
He's having a conversation with the Wasp, and she says, "Carol, Captain Marvel's gone. Marvel is dead. You are Captain Marvel now." And that's when she ditches the whole black and yellow bikini thing that she had on, and says, "Okay, I'm going to put on the blue, red, and gold, and I'm going to be Captain Marvel now." Mm-hmm. So there was always this. I prefer it now because Captain Marvel, motherfucker, the original Captain Marvel, he was more your typical male superhero. It's just like, stand back, little lady, I shall save them with my photon blast.
And my massive jaw.
And my jawline that could smash watermelons. But with the new Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, it's actually well written because she's arrogant, and it shows in the comic book, and it shows in the comic books, and prime example of that being in Civil War 2, where she is trying to stop crime before it happens. So she basically puts this giant shield around the Earth that basically is like a massive sort of border gate.
Right.
It's just anyone tries to come into Earth, they get met by some of the Earth's strongest heroes that can survive in space, and they just kind of go, yeah, you can't come in here. Why? Because that girl over there, Quasar, will melt your face off with the power of the sun. You're not allowed in here because you've been classed as a dangerous citizen.
Yeah. And
that kind of leads into the whole Civil War II, leads them down the path, because it kicks off when Carol Danvers and her group, which has the new Captain America, which is Falcon.
Right.
Can't remember the character's name, and it has a War Machine in it. War Machine takes a hit because they find out that Thanos is going to arrive on Earth at this date at this time, so they try and intercept them. But obviously Thanos is prepared. He kicks the shit out of Colonel Rhodes, James Rhodes, War Machine. Obviously Tony Stark flies off the handle, and that kind of kickstarts the whole thing of, we should just, fortify our defences for when they come. We shouldn't try and predict and stop them coming, because that's us going too far. That's us extending our power too much. And I think that's where I kind of like Captain Marvel to go. To show us that she is supremely powerful, show us that arrogance, show us that kind of I'm right, you're wrong mentality that she's kind of had, or at least that I've viewed her as having in the comic books.
Yeah. And that's what we mentioned earlier in the movie. Once everything's kind of laid out and she realizes who she was, when she returns to her, she finds out that she was a US Army or US Air Force fighter pilot. She was a test pilot as well.
Yeah.
And that's where she has her accident where she becomes Captain Marvel. And you realize that she had a real confidence about her because she was always she's a tough kid. Like, she was a tough kid, kept being tough.
She got knocked down constantly.
Yeah.
She always got back up.
And it's
she was also in a go-kart accident that was easily edited to look like a fatality.
Yeah,
there was an explosion, there was a lot of tumbling and crunching of metal, and she got up with a cut above the eyebrow.
That looked pretty savage. I'm not entirely sure how bad, what was she actually, what was going on with that go-kart. That was way more powerful than a kid should be driving. But that's the thing, is she was driving it because that's what she wanted to do.
Yeah. But afterwards, she goes back over to her dad. I'm pretty sure she isn't that badly damaged. She might have a couple of cuts and some blood.
She's a bit dirtied up and stuff.
She's grubby. She walks over to her dad and she just says something along the lines of, "See, Dad, I can do what I want." And she's like, "You almost died, you dumb son of a bitch."
Yeah, the dad just goes off. I'm like, I think the dad's just a dick.
Yeah,
I don't know what to make of this. I'm sympathetic to Carol Danvers because she just clearly has a dick as a dad.
Yeah, that was the very last thought in my head when I watched that scene, because the first one was like, "Are you okay? How are you fine?" There was an explosion, a lot of damage, a lot of noise, and you just come out looking like that, and
just a grubby little toddler.
Now your dad's going off on one. Your dad's a bit of a dick.
Your dad's like, "Whoa, what the fuck is wrong with you?" But in a good way.
My daughter's a superhero. She never died in a fiery explosion.
But yeah, she's a tough kid, and that gives her a bit of, when she's confident, she's arrogant. Yeah. Because she knows she can take the hit with what's coming next. And it leads to one of my favourite scenes, which is with her. It's in a fight. And I will say, as much as this movie's been kind of hyped up to be very pro-feminist, it's actually not that. It's not like, "Woo, yeah, girls can do it, girl power." It's not fake or anything like that. It is sincere in a way when we're talking about Carol Danvers always gets up one more time. Yeah. And it's powerful. The editing for that scene is really good. Yeah. For her picking herself out, because you've seen the clips of her falling down, but then they show you she does get back up, and she got back up the next time, and the next time, and the next time, and she gets back up now, and you're like, oh shit! It's almost like a Rocky Balboa moment. You're like, "You're fucking kick ass." The fact that they set one of her fights to "No Doubt's Just a Girl" pissed me off in a way I didn't know. I wanted to leave that song in the past. We all did. Yeah. Why did they bring it back?
Yeah, Gwen Stefani, her voice has not aged well.
It was funny. It was really funny to just hear it and you go, but you were in the theater going, really, motherfuckers, we're doing this song.
I was sitting in the cinema and someone 2 rows down from me just went, "Okay, I guess that's where we are now."
The most passive aggressive motherfucker in the room.
It looks like you can't see the head motions there, but it was kind of that straight necked, well, okay then, bobblehead action. I was like,
The feminists have won this one.
Okay, I'll just take my white self out of this theatre.
You get the feel that guy walked out of Black Panther. Really,
this Wakanda forever.
Oh, look at me, dum dum Wakanda forever.
I'm proud of my country.
It was fine. I had no issue with the whole it was pro female. It wasn't like let's cut off all men's balls. Feminist.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of dug the No Doubt montage. It was
funny.
Cheesy. It was hokey, but it fit.
It's that cheesy, happy Marvel moment.
Yeah,
and the editing and the fight choreography to match the beat of the song.
Yeah,
pays it off. If it hadn't worked with the editing and the fight choreography, I'd have been annoyed.
Yeah,
more annoyed than me jokingly being annoyed in the podcast. It's well done. They pulled it off. I wouldn't have taken that risk, but they pulled it off. So, hats off to them for going for it, because it worked in the end, and it was really funny. But during that fight, there's a confrontation between her and Minerva. Minerva has been at Yonrog's side from the beginning. She was actually on Earth when Carol Danvers was abducted, basically, and taken back to the Green homeworld. And Carol Danvers knows this now. So she, in the middle of the fight, goes, You knew about my secret, and that's why you didn't like me. That's why we never spent time together. And she's like, No, I just didn't like you. That was the funniest fucking moment in the movie. Her just being like, No, you're just a dick.
I don't need a reason. You're just an asshole.
I just don't like you. There's nothing. It's not melodramatic. It's not special. I just don't like you.
I remember reading a while ago that the actress that played Minerva, Gemma Chan, I'm a fucking huge fan. She was in a TV show called Humans on Channel 4. Mm-hmm. And that was all about synthetic humans called synths. They become the new appliance in the home.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really good TV show, so I was a huge fan of Gemma Chan. It also helps that she's fucking stunning. Yeah. But when I kind of forgot that she was going to be in the movie, so I was just sitting watching going, holy shit, we got Gemma Chan, I'm in here. I'm in now. And again, she was one of the best performances in the show. It's
weird that she's really underrated. She doesn't have a lot to say, but
she's banging Jack Whitehall, that's why. she's taking a hit.
she just kind of is there, and she's like the competent sidekick soldier. She's what, obviously, the Kree were hoping Carol Danvers would be.
Yeah, she's the finisher. She's the sniper. She cleans up.
Yeah, and there's the good scene of her realizing that they're being ambushed because she gets tricked by one of the Skrull at the start of the movie. And you're like, oh, she's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's very good at her job.
Yeah.
And the character Minerva, she comes back in subsequent past the origin of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. She comes back again and again to sort of be a thorn in the side to Carol Danvers. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of hoping that she comes back in some way, because some of the storylines are really, really fucking cool.
It's weird though, because with all the whole part of the movie is basically a double cross in a way.
Yeah,
the story goes
the
one
whole
way.
Movie, there's a lot of twists.
Yeah, and the way the movie kind of curves one way and curves the other way. As the audience, we have the omnipotent view, not entirely omnipotent, but we have the view of the whole thing. We know how it all plays out. Overview. And especially now we know how that plays out in the context of the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm kind of left wondering how I feel about those Kree soldiers, like the Kree squad. I kind of want Yon-Rogg and Minerva back, but as good guys. I know they won't be.
Yeah.
They're both really entrenched in the Kree system, but would they come back as anti-heroes? Would that happen now that Thanos has showed up and wrecked the homeworld?
Yeah.
Would they now ally with the Avengers over Thanos?
It could be. The only one that I know that for definite is dead is Korath. Yeah, the guy that had the
twin swords,
samurai swords, like the green swords.
Yeah.
He becomes Ronan's right-hand man, and he gets his head ripped. He has these weird implants in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
They get ripped out of his head by Drax, so that dude's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's straight up dead.
Yeah, that was for Guardians of the Galaxy, because I saw him and I'm like, oh yeah, him.
Yeah. I think he's like Korath the Pursuer or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Pegged as being a relentless tracker, never gives up on his prey type thing.
But
Can't really remember much.
he's the guy who shows up at the start of Guardians 1 when you've the great scene of Peter Quill just kind of dancing through the thing, kicking like space rats around the place, and he shows up and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
put that down before you hurt yourself.
Put it down. It's precious and it's mine. Fuck off.
I'm looking for that. It's mine.
Yeah.
He's the only one that I know that's dead for definite. There is another two that I don't know what.
There's two minor characters that let's be honest, they don't matter. That it's
I'm pretty sure one of them gets killed by Carol Danvers in the movie.
Well, one of them got stuck on like a generator and spun around several times and then punched off that generator by Carol Danvers. Like, she chucks him on there to just kind of keep him in one place while she fights the other guy. She like fucks him up, throws him away, and then jumps up and just smashes him so hard now he comes off of the generator he's magnetically attached to and then just flies away, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, he's not coming back for Captain Marvel too.
It's a good thing as well, like, Captain Marvel doesn't fuck around.
No, she gets shit done. And that's what I'm looking forward to in Endgame.
Yeah. And to completely spoil it, towards the end, the Kree show up.
Yeah, they're led by Ronan the Accuser.
Yeah.
Because Young he just says, he realises how powerful how powerful Carol Danvers is, and the fact that she's now gone rogue. His only recourse is he calls in the accusers to just basically glass the planet. Is it,
look, the scroll here, I don't know how many, you should probably just come down here and deal with that. That sound okay with you, boy? And Ronan comes along and Captain Marvel flies through a ship.
Yep.
And just menaces the other one.
Straight up.
It's a fleet of like 7 of them or something show up.
And she just 7 big ships, and they've all got these little attack ships that come off otherwise.
And if you want to talk about like an escalation of power, it goes from her like 1v1ing a bunch of people, like just fighting them in a big brawl in space.
On ground level, just
it's a martial arts. And that's the one thing that bugged me about this movie was the fight choreography could have been a little better. There was a lot more shaky cam than I wanted to. And there could have been a lot more interesting. That's the thing for me, was that first scene when they're doing like the martial arts kind of sparring. I was like, are we going to get like a really well produced, there's going to be some like good technical beatdowns here. Yeah. That'd be fun. But Marvel don't really make kung fu movies. No. So they didn't do that.
They tried with Iron Fist and that did not go well.
So that escalates from like a brawl to her realizing she can fly in space. As in, fuck it, fly, hitching a ride on an ejection pod, beating down her former captain with the funniest kind of like, it's that great thing of like the build up of all the hype of finally we'll show that we'll fight in the final showdown of this movie, and she's just going, no, I'm not dealing with this shit right now, just blasting him in the face.
It's sword versus gun from Indiana Jones when the guy comes in and does all the cool sword and Harrison Ford just shoots them.
Have I told you my favourite example of that?
No.
Ong Bak 3. So a guy sets up with a massive like 30-second like stretching, flexing, like positioning martial arts move, and the guy pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head. Nice. The guy's it's just a complete no. We're not doing this today. Bang. Fuck off. But then she immediately she chases after her friends, takes down a fighter plane. Yeah.
Effortlessly.
Yeah. Just bodies it.
Remember what Gohan did to Raditz?
Like
just flying headbutt into his chest. That's pretty much what she does to a few ships.
And then she flies into space to fight an entire space fleet. Yeah. And none of it feels wrong. Was that weird for you that you watched that happen, that like last 15 minutes, and you're like, I'm down with all of it?
For me, it was perfectly perfectly summarised by Brie Larson in the movie. When she just goes, I've been fighting with one hand tied behind my back this entire time. Yeah. Oh, little did you know that the other hand has a fucking nuke in it. Like, it was ridiculous because you think, oh, she's going to be, oh shit, what the, hey.
It just escalates so quickly. And the fact that at one point when she's like punching through the ship, you hear her like going like, woohoo.
Yeah, she's just whooping away.
You hear whoop as she like smashes through a ship, and you're like, you just killed 1,000 people.
I kind of, just for me, because I like a bit of the comedy, I would have liked her just to land back on Earth and just, act woozy or something for a couple of seconds, just going, I've never done that before.
Yeah, like realistically react to the fact that you just flew into space, punched through a ship, and flew back down in the space of 60 seconds.
Yeah, it was a very quick scene.
So that was definitely, I'd say, the highlight of the movie is towards the end, once things start to just pick up pace. We're not dealing with the weird convoluted mess of the kind of memories and stuff. Once everything's in place, I think it could have taken a lot less time. It's like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
If they'd taken a little bit of time off that to just not bother with twisting it up at the beginning, this would have been like an 8.
Yeah, I think easily there could have been things that boosted it up. Because to me, I still think 6.5 is quite generous for it. Just in terms of certain things, if they tightened up the first act, maybe changed things, maybe done it in a different way, that would have been better. The middle, I kind of say they keep that where it is. What would genuinely bump it up to, say, maybe an 8.5 for me is if they changed how Fury lost his eye. It was funny, but at the same time,
it's a throwaway gag.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things in the cinematic universe, or any Marvel universe that has Nick Fury in it. How does Fury lose his eye? In the comic books, it was because of Wolverine. He gets in the wrong side of Wolverine scratches his fucking eye out.
To be fair though, it's not like they could do that because although that has gone through. Disney is now buying Fox.
Yeah, Disney has bought Fox as of
no, but like the legal things are in place. It's like the government's okayed it, so now it's
as of the 20th of March. So what, 6 days ago to a week ago almost.
Yep,
they now own all of Fox, and I think
it's certain ways though. Fox News is still owned by Fox. Yeah. It's Disney went after TV and movie studios. Yeah. I don't think they're allowed to do sports because they also own ESPN, so they can't have Fox Sports.
Yeah, they can't have competing.
And then I think they were allowed a couple of things like television, a couple like digital licensing things.
Yeah, I think basically anything that's the news, sports, and a couple of other things, that's still Fox.
Yeah.
So, but I think TV, all the affiliate TV studios for Fox, all the movie studios, that's now
all the animation studios. For example, the big one I'm interested in is Family Guy. How long does Family Guy have?
I thought Family Guy was finished. Or is it still going?
I don't know. That's the thing is, we've lost track of it. But at the same time, I think it's still trundling on. In a lesser form, in the same way as The Simpsons as well.
I genuinely think, because Disney are very, this isn't working, let's close the book. Like what they did with Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and The Punisher, they've all been cancelled, and they're getting a reboot. Yeah. Which I think is dumb. Because reboot, unless they're doing reboot, as in they're going to keep the same characters, they're just going to do it in a different way. It's a bit shit, but still, we're still getting the same character, the same actors doing the same job, but in a different setting. I can live with that. But if they're just taking people who did this job previously and just saying, "No, you can go away, we're going to do our own thing," that's crap. Because you had a really good Daredevil, really good Jessica Jones. I didn't like Iron Fist, but the character was right. Mm. It was written poorly because no one knew how to write the sort of street level superhero, but also try and make it a kung fu show. Mm. And then you had Jessica. Then you had
also, how many kung fu shows do you know? It's it can't be easy to make it. Yeah, like a kung fu movie is easy because it's one story. Yeah. How do you keep that movie? Like, how do you keep that running through a TV show? Yeah. But to get it back on track, like, it's not like they could have done the whole Wolverine takes Nick Fury's eye thing. Yeah. Just because of the whole licensing thing that made being a fan of those movies a right pain in the ass the last couple of years. But I actually wish Nick Fury was better. Like, one of the twists is that the cat that's just hanging around isn't really a cat. Yeah, it's one third Cthulhu, yeah, and it
lays eggs.
Yeah, somehow. But yeah, they use that as a kind of get out of jail free card a couple times. And I wish for one of those, Nick Fury had just picked up a gun and shot a couple people. Yeah, just to prove, because for a lot of the movie, although he's a kind of in the field kind of detective guy. Yeah. He's kind of bumbling a little bit. Like, he's not like on point Nick Fury that we know now, where he's a badass who like watches half the world burn and goes, "I know what to do," and
Nick
does
Fury,
something.
Yeah. Nick Fury is quite well stated that he's had a military career before. He was a spy before he joined S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. He was part of the Howling Commandos. They were basically a squad of people that just got sent in to, break the unbreakable door, fight the unwinnable fight. He was part of them, so he's skilled. Yeah.
But that doesn't come across. I just wish, just for once, that he'd picked up the gun and he'd done his part for the movie, because it kind of feels like he's just along for the ride, which is a shame because he's great. Yeah,
because you see in Avengers Assemble, he's taking out dudes one after the other when the helicarrier goes down. Mm-hmm. Like when Loki's fucking around and trying to separate them all. Nick Fury's holding his own. There's about 12 bodies in that one scene alone that can be attributed to him. Yeah, just putting them down. So yeah, I agree with you there. There's not a really, because
it would have worked with
great use of Fury.
He has a good relationship with the Skrull commander, the Skrull general, and like it would be good to see them kind of have that moment of like, oh, we are allies, we're equals, we're friends, we we're bonded now through this moment of combat. Like, it would have been good to have that on screen, but
Yeah.
I mean, I guess having the cat do the same thing twice
Yeah.
totally justifies it, especially when it's a thing that what's his name, fucking Groot already did.
Yeah, it's already been done.
Because when I saw the long shot, like when he does it in a short space, he does this thing. I'm not gonna spoil it because it's quite funny.
Yeah.
But when he does it in a short range, I'm like, okay, that was funny. Then when he does it long range, I'm like, that's just the Groot thing.
Yeah, that's just...
He did the Groot thing, and I'm pretty sure it's the same camera angle as well.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely... I need to go back and check that, but I'm pretty sure it's the same camera angle of Groot doing that.
Did it annoy you that Carol Danvers just knew what the Tesseract was? Because at one point she just goes, oh, that's the Tesseract. Like, literally almost the same kind of inflection that just goes, that's the Tesseract.
Not, oh my god, we found the, like, source of power.
We found the cosmic cube. It's one of the most powerful energy sources in the galaxy.
Yeah.
It's just Tesseract. It's
But
kind of
there's
like someone
some
showing
weird
you a
thing
car, like,
of...
it's Tesseract, that.
There's a weird thing that happens in the movie where we talk about like foreshadowing. This is a weird foreshadow I think some people have missed. I would get your opinion on it as well. Did you notice that Carol Danvers never queries slang? When Carol Danvers lands, like Fury just shows up and he's a beat cop.
Yeah.
He's talking in slang to an alien, and she never queries any of it. However, when the Skrull arrive later on, Carol Danvers says, I'm going to shove this boot somewhere that you're not going to like. And he goes, what does that mean? Because it's an idiom. He doesn't know what it means.
Yeah.
We all know. It means she's going to shove her foot up your ass. And they have to explain that to him. Carol Danvers never does. Because she's from Earth. She knows Earth slang. She knows Earth ideas, American ideas. Because she's a former pilot. She would have heard that type of shit all the time.
Yeah.
I never thought about that until like later on. I was like, damn. Did they foreshadow that, or did they just accidentally not write that part where she needs to have things explained to her?
I think for pacing's sake, they didn't write that in, because can you imagine how exhausting would it be if Fury's going over to her and saying, like, if she says something, says something along the lines of, you better check yourself, and she just starts, checking her arm or something like that, and it's like, no, that means you better watch what you say, and she's like, how can I watch what I say? If you have that literal kind of character, it treads very much on Drax the Destroyer's brand from Guardians of the Galaxy, but also it damages pacing quite heavily.
Yeah,
because then you have to stop and explain things, and there's usually inevitably a montage where this character is going, oh, so that's what this means, and then you have to deal with yet another internet pre-broadband internet montage where she's trying to find all this shit on a dial-up modem,
which I think that explains it a lot about, or that for me was like a little headcanon thing of, they did foreshadow that. I mean, they might have also just not bothered to write it, but I would just kind of give them the credit for being smarter than they might or may not have been. But yeah, I think now, like, we've seen how that movie ends. Now when people say, oh, Captain Marvel will solve the Thanos problem, I'm like, okay, now I can see why.
Have you seen why the internet, or how the internet wants Endgame to end?
Yes.
With Ant-Man going into Thanos' ass.
Expanding it.
There's a picture that I seen. Do you remember Keenan and Kel from Nickelodeon?
Yes.
Right. It's the guy, Keenan Thompson. Someone superimposed his face onto Thanos, and he's making a kind of like worried face.
Yeah.
And it's just Keenan Thompson's face on Thanos, and the caption reads, when you feel a tickle in your ass and you haven't seen Ant-Man for the past 5 minutes. It's just this kind of worried face.
It's become the new meme. It's brilliant. But yeah, I
hope they reference it, but in a kind of like, how do we kill him? I'm not flying in his ass.
I think there's nothing else we can really talk about for Captain Marvel, unless you've got stuff.
I think we're done. The only thing that I would like to say is actually in praise of it is the changing of how Captain Marvel, or how Carol Danvers gets her powers. Because originally it was just this kind of almost by osmosis. Yeah. She stood next to the original Captain Marvel, who was, I think it was actually called Walter Sawyers. Yeah. Just so just as a kind of like analog between the two characters from the original to the movie. She just stood next to the original, the male Captain Marvel, and somehow by osmosis gained powers, or there was some kind of explosion or leak or something that kind of bonded their DNA. Yeah. And it was also heavily hinted that because they had a sexual relationship, there was some kind of transfer there. And I'm very glad they got rid of that, if that is the case. Yeah. But yeah, I just like that they've updated it, and to be fair, it's probably one of the better first going Marvel movies. Yeah. But I still think, I'd say about 6.5 overall for it.
So you're starting out. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Give us the director's cut where the start kind of makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. Give us the director's cut when there's more things in there. Maybe there's Fury being a badass. Maybe there's more.
But it's one of those things you'll need to see this now in cinema before Avengers comes out at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So you're kind of gonna have to go see it like now and not wait for DVD, which is weird because this is like a good DVD movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie if you want to watch something where you could pause it.
Yeah.
I think if you're in the cinema and you miss something, I think that kind of damages the film. I think you need to be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe say pause it and say, "Oh, what the hell's happening here?" Or maybe look up something, see how that connects to something else.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we'll end our spoiler discussion here. Yeah. So welcome back to the podcast, and we'll take a quick technical break just to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And now we're actually back. Yes, we are.
Yep.
Yes, audio levels are fine and everything. So let's now that we're done with talking about Captain Marvel, we kind of glossed over the fact that you've been playing Spider-Man on the PS4.
Yep, I finally got around to playing it because I did put it off for quite a while, and for good reason. That my older brother wanted to play it first. So I thought, right, I'll take a step back. There's plenty for me to play just now. So I finally got around to playing it, and it is genuinely going back to. I get you don't really like attaching numbers to things, but it's genuinely a 9.5 game.
Yeah,
it is fucking perfect. It nails all the aspects of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. The swinging mechanics are fucking perfect. How you can interact with the city, how every little smokestack, chimney, brick wall can be vaulted off to give you more speed. And on that, the speed that you can pick up when going through the city, you can go from one end of Manhattan to the other quick as fuck.
Yeah,
it is ridiculous.
I do remember them showing the swing mechanics to one of the people from Insomniac who developed the original.
Yeah, from the Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man
movie
the PS2 tie-in. Yeah, it was apparently it was easily regarded as the best because it nailed the swing mechanic. And when that guy stands up and says, "You guys nailed the swing mechanic,"
you got it good. Yeah. And the game itself is just it doesn't really follow any comic storylines. This is just a group of writers similar to the Arkham games. Mm-hmm. They just thought, let's just make our own story. Let's just do something that's Spider-Man at its core, but something that's totally new. So it's kind of it's a story where Spider-Man's already established. People know who Spider-Man is. Mm. It takes into account some of the old Spider-Man, sort of goings on. He's already met certain characters. J. Jonah Jameson was the editor of the Daily Bugle. Now he hosts an InfoWars type chat show where he just kind of shouts on, "Spider-Man's a fucking menace. Spider-Man this, Spider-Man that. Mayor Osborn, what do you think of Spider-Man? Oh, I like Spider-Man. No, he's a menace."
I like that people make fun of the Alex Jones style podcast, but in the same world that's happening, there's Mayor Osborn. Yeah,
Mayor Osborn.
Nobody queries that.
Who is when you see. It's not hard. Norman Osborn, the original Green Goblin. In this, he's not the Green Goblin. In this is just Mayor Osborn, CEO of Oscorp. When you see him, he looks Trump. He looks old man. He's got the overly done hair. He's got that kind of smug demeanor about him. You can tell that the people at Insomniac Games just went, "We're going to take a dig here.
We'll lose some fans, but we're going to take a dig."
Yeah, we're going to take a dig. So there's this kind of well-established, and there's these well-established Spider-Man. He's kind of got his name about there, and there's this they've cherry-picked some really, really good villains for this game because you've got Kingpin as the opening sort of tutorial fight, and it's one of the strongest openings to a game I've ever played. How the fight goes on, it teaches you how to play the game, and how the sort of set pieces continue because you start at the top of Fisk Tower, and you just basically fight your way down, and you realise that Wilson Fisk is not only an intelligent. A very intelligent, very street savvy man who rules the New York criminal underworld. He's also a very strong man because he punches Spider-Man through the floor, and the two of them have a fist fight midair, and obviously Spider-Man wins. Coming towards the end, one of the strongest openings to a superhero game ever, maybe second to again Arkham Knight, and that's going to be a point that I keep coming back to.
Yeah,
Spider-Man to me is very comparable to Arkham Knight, the last Batman game, because to me they're kind of the same style of game. It's just, let's take these superheroes, let's take the sort of the best of their cast of villains, let's take the supporting cast and let's just make something that honours these characters. Where I say that Arkham Knight to me is a 10 out of 10 game, Obviously, there's a bit of personal bias there, but it honours the legacy of Batman a bit more because you've got legacy voice actors in there. Spider-Man, it's got fantastic voice acting in there, but there's no one that you look and think, oh, he voiced Spider-Man in that, or she voiced Mary Jane in that. It's all just new
They're
actors.
not bringing the band back together for one last go behind the mic.
But when you go to Arkham Knight, you've got Mark Hamill in there as Joker. You've got Kevin Conroy reprising Batman with that fucking awesome voice of his. And you've got like villains who have got sort of legacy voices as well. And you've got like new people coming in. You've got what is it? The guy that he was in Breaking Bad. He played a character. I think his nickname was Mr. In and Out.
I can't
Can't remember. I remember he was he was a bald dude. He was a kind of hitman type character. Really good character in Breaking Bad. He plays Commissioner Gordon. And there's all these other sort of cast of characters that inform the sort of legacy of the thing because they said, I used to love, or I've took this performance from the Batman animated series and I'm going to build on that.
Is Spider-Man not voiced by Yuri Lowenthal?
Going to be my next point. Yuri Lowenthal, I think he's maybe in his 40s.
Yeah.
Dude sounds like he's Peter Parker. Like
he's a veteran anime voice actor, and he's.
I don't think there's much. Like, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of sort of effect on his voice to young him down. There might be a little bit because obviously he's in his 40s. It'd be hard to kind of maintain a like 26, 27-year-old voice when you're maybe up there in the years. But
yeah,
it's really damn good. The girl, the woman who's voicing Mary Jane, I think it's Laura Bailey.
That sounds about right. I guess.
Again, she fucking hits it out of the park. I think Yuri Lowenthal even got his wife in there. Tara Platt, she voices Yuri Watanabe, the police captain.
All right.
Really, really solid performance. But voice acting aside, because voice acting in the game is stellar because Yuri Lowenthal recorded all of his lines twice. Once when he's just walking around, on the streets of New York, just at a normal pace. He's recorded them when he's doing them that way, but he's also recorded the lines for when you're swinging through the area.
High octane, like
so when
woohoo version,
or the high octane. It's just the line is, "Oh, hey Aunt May, I'll be there soon." There'll be the normal way to say it, or when he's swinging a bit, "Hey Aunt May, I'll be there soon." So there's you can hear there's a little bit more stress in the voice. So you can see that he's actually putting an effort in the swinging. A lot of attention to detail. That's fucking awesome. Really, really kind of really separates it in terms of what other games came out that year.
Yeah,
but where it fails slightly in my mind is the combat. The combat is very samey. There's not enough variation in the combos. There's not enough variation in the finishers, the different moves that you can do. I think they could do with spicing it up a little bit, but it does the job well, so there's not really much to complain about.
Right. So, like, is it mostly, like, I'm guessing, like, the like, fisticuffs is fine. Like, just on the ground with, like, a couple people, you can box your way through that quite well.
His fighting style is kind of capoeira. He does a lot of like weird spin kicks, and he uses kind of his acrobatics to his advantage, which obviously you'd assume Spider-Man would do.
Yeah, that's really standard Spider-Man gameplay. Yeah,
and what helps the game and hinders it is the fact that Spider-Man can't take a lot of damage. He's a very small. He's frame-wise, obviously he's superhero build, but he's a smaller person.
Yeah.
He can't take much damage, and it's particularly when people are walking about with firearms and they've got like charged mystical energies from Mr. Negative.
Yeah,
it's going to hurt. So Spider-Man can't really take that much damage. You can upgrade him so it gets reduced, but ultimately you could easily lose most of your health bar to about 5 dudes. Like 5 goons just, hitting you with either blunt weapons or just with regular fists and feet.
Isn't the worst thing if you think about it. Like when it comes to especially Spider-Man, he is still like the kid from Queens. Like, he's not the biggest guy in the block. I mean, he's got the powers of a spider, but he's still just a kid.
Yeah, he's still just a kid, and he's still obviously he's superhuman, but he still is human. He can still take a lot of damage, and he's not as trained as just say Batman, for example, because Batman has trained his body from the ages of 18 to 30, just to kind of be the ultimate weapon.
Spider-Man with like ninja clans and stuff like that, and just beating the shit out of each other.
Trained with Lady Shiva, trained with the League of Shadows, trained with various different masters up and down the globe. Whereas Spider-Man, he's mainly self-taught. Yeah. He might have done a bit of training with, say, Black Widow or something, or he might have done a bit of training with, I can't remember the character's name, but his nickname is like the Kung Fu Master.
No,
it's not Iron Fist. It might be something related to Iron Fist, but I can't fucking remember. But he's done some training.
It's just some guy.
It's just some dude with a headband.
It's some mole ninja shit,
It's just like, just 6 easy payments of $30 and I'll teach you how to fight. He's done some training, but ultimately he's not that well trained. So it makes sense that Spider-Man's going to be caught off guard. It makes sense that he's not going to know all the tricks of the trade. He's going to be relying more so on his powers than he is skills. He's going to be the fact that he's got his webs, he's got his speed, he's got his super strength. That's going to be relied on more than just skill and different
ability
moves
to take a fist to the face.
Yeah. Whereas if you flash it to Batman's going to be able to I'm going to have to take this hit, but I can compensate with doing this move, and I can use this style, this form, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I haven't finished the game, but from what I've played so far, it's ridiculous. You could easily spend a good few hours just swinging through the city, reacting to crime. Because as you're swinging through the city, you'll maybe get a phone call from Dr. Otto Octavius, who becomes a villain later on in the game.
Yeah.
But you're working with him to kind of revolutionise robotics for prosthetic arms and stuff. So you're working with him, you'll get a phone call from him and going, I've made a breakthrough, you need to come to Octavius Labs. And you have to swing to Octavius Labs through New York City, or you can fast travel if you're a bitch. I was having a conversation.
If you want to be bad at the game.
Yeah, if you don't want to take advantage of the beautiful swinging mechanics in the game.
If you want to miss the point.
Yeah, if you want to take the subway, because I will say this, there's one point where it railroads you into fast travelling. You just basically sit on the subway, fully dressed as Spider-Man, like taking selfies with people.
I think you've got to do that once for the joke, because it's funny.
Yeah, you have to do it once in the game, because you have to fast travel to your apartment. Because you're, I think you need to pick something up or something. Yeah. Then it leads to the most annoying fetch quest ever, because you get evicted from your apartment, then you have to go and find all your stuff.
Right.
I think it's taken to a dump because you need a flash drive or something that was in your stuff.
Right.
It's pretty funny, but at the same time, it is a fetch quest. I fucking hate fetch quests.
I was going to ask something. Fuck, just totally lost it. I'll find that and edit that out.
That's fine. Fuck, what have I covered? Aye, you can, if you're swinging to a certain point in the game, because you take advantage of the swinging mechanic, you'll maybe get a sort of red triangle on your screen with an exclamation mark saying, "Oh, crime happening," so you can go and deal with the crime.
Okay.
I personally a few more hours into the game than I should be, because I can't not respond to the crimes. I was sitting playing it with my brother there, and my brother just says, you can just forget about the crime and go straight to the mission. Who's going to keep New York safe?
I'm Spider-Man. I was going to actually ask, I forgot what I was going to ask, but it was, are you dealing with crime as it happens?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know you're a bit of a completionist sometimes, and I get the feeling that you were going to enjoy this game and you would go to try and complete it with 100% platinum. And
I don't
everyone
know if
I've seen says that if you finish the game and then go back to just kind of mop up the bits and pieces, it's a fucking nightmare. I've
been doing it as I go along, because I don't know what it is. If I get an alert in any game, I can need to deal with that before I can go back to the main path.
All right.
It's some kind of weird autistic kind of, I need to deal with this thing before I can deal with this thing, or this kind of, like, I'm going towards B, but I'm going towards 2, but 1.5 is fucking right in my face.
See, it's funny that you rationalise it that way, because I do the exact opposite for The Division. I'll ignore some people who go, "Oh, we need your hand dealing with this," and I'm like, I actually have to go deal with this. Like, yeah, every life's important and whatever, but you can handle that. I gotta go actually kill this guy. Yeah. I gotta go over here. But it's funny that you rationalise it kind of the same way as that in character, you have to follow every little instruction of like help. Yeah,
and it's also that it leans back to in any Marvel property, the NYPD or the police department in that particular area where the superhero is are the most incompetent sons of bitches you've ever met. Like, the police are only going to fuck this up, and it's a gang that have weird negative energy powers. They're not going to be equipped for that. I'm Spider-Man. I'm going to go deal with that shit. And I'm going to get the XP for it. Why am I going to turn down XP for just doing a couple of combos?
I was going to say, we frame the police department as incompetent in some Marvel stuff. At the same time, there's also people running around like manipulating reality as it seems. Yeah. And it just kind of make you go, "Hey, you guys suck at your job." Well, technically their job doesn't include this shit. Yeah. So, and if it is supposed to include this shit, they should have more than a 9mm pistol.
Yeah, they should have more than just Kevlar and some bullets.
Because that guy is made out of pure iron and is punching you repeatedly in the face.
This guy in the giant rhino suit could actually crush you. That horn on his head is sharp. You will get gored.
It is not a toy.
He's not fucking around. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just can't. If I see that little red triangle with the exclamation mark pop up on screen, I can't leave it. Yeah, it's like a fly buzzing in the room. I'm like, motherfucker, I need to go and deal with it.
Right then, we're dealing with this.
It literally happened before I headed up to record the podcast. I was going to do a mission where I had to go and see Aunt May in the sort of homeless shelter that she works at.
Okay.
Which is a backdrop that they use in the game. It's pretty cool how they do it. I was going to go and see Aunt May, but then 2 of the red triangles popped up at once, and I went, "Fuck, that's not. I'm not getting to this mission anytime soon." So I went and did them, and I was swinging there. Then I kind of got distracted by more collectibles on the way. And I was just like, I'm never going to be done with this game anytime soon. So I'm trying to get it done before I need to start revising for exams and shit. But
yeah,
I think it's going to need to be a couple all-nighters before I can get it finished.
All-nighters for gaming are fun.
Yeah.
If they're worth it, and if a game like this comes along, you really kind of have to indulge yourself a little bit and just enjoy the good times.
Because I think I've not done this heavy a collectathon since maybe Breath of the Wild, where I had to do 120 fucking shrines, and I think I had to collect 80 pieces of fucking armor, and it was a nightmare.
What suit you running?
What suit am I running? I am sticking with the original Scarlet Spider costume.
All right.
Which is just the full red with the blue hoodie with the kind of large spider on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've unlocked other costumes, but none of them really look that cool. Because for me, especially when I was reading the original sort of run of Spider-Man comics, Spider-Man was always this, like the blue and red with the kind of webs on it and stuff. Then when the Scarlet Spider came along, I was like, holy shit, this is cool. This is fucking punk.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with that because it had I had the wrist bracelet, it had the wrist things on with the little canisters on it, and it had the hoodie as well. The hoodie was it looked so fucking cool. So just to kind of indulge that 8-year-old me that was reading Spider-Man comics, I'm still running the Scarlet Spider costume.
I just enjoyed from Russian Badger's video on it. He said that there's obviously the scene, like if there's any cinematics, it still uses the suit that you're wearing.
Yeah.
So if you use the Carnage suit, which is like the massive open jaw, and you have Black Cat try to be all seductive, I'm like, come on, I just want your lips, and you just cut to Carnage's face with no lips, and just this massive monstrous mouth. This screaming hell pit of a face. I just want to feel your lips, baby.
Just this horrible,
just this horrific distended jaw.
I think that's definitely good. I've heard that in Spider-Man, at the end of Spider-Man 1, which the sequel's coming. The way from what I've heard, at the end of 1, they foreshadow so many different villains.
Yeah.
Including Venom. So I think Venom and Carnage are going to be down the line for the next game. And I definitely know the reason why the black suit, the Venom suit, wasn't in Spider-Man 1 is because they wanted to make that an actual plot point in a subsequent game. Okay. They didn't want to kind of just put it in there and say, oh, here's the black and white suit.
Yeah.
We're going to actually make it something in the next game. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Because I do know there's a bit of a shit show around the Sam Raimi costume.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, I think there was an issue where it wasn't included in the original game.
Yeah, it wasn't included.
It came as a later thing.
Yeah, it wasn't included in the original game, and people were saying, "Where's the Raimi suit? Where's the Raimi suit?" Eventually, Insomniac. Well, from what I can read, Insomniac said, "Right, you guys really want this in the game, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you it's free DLC, just because we feel that this should have been in the game the first time, but it took us long enough to put it in there." They said, "Right here is free DLC." The reaction to that was, they're giving it to you to shut you up because you've been so vocal, so active, so vitriolic about this. This is basically Insomniac saying, shut up, here's your thing. And then obviously that go back to Insomniac and say, no, we're giving it because we want to give you it. Don't look at it. And then there was this fucking horrendous back and forth.
Just the internet gaming community doing what it does best, shitting on its own fucking plate.
Eating its own face off.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd heard something about it. I wasn't sure entirely how it went down.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Because the weird thing about it, if you watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, Tobey Maguire is pretty fucking big. He's like got the big broad shoulders. He's there's a lot more definition about him. So he's kind of a wider set Spider-Man. Yeah. But then when you put him in the game, he's a lot smaller. Kind of got that swimmer's body about him, like the sort of smaller streamlined body. It looks squished. And the head looks a lot smaller.
Right.
It looks just slightly off to me, so I haven't used it.
Alright. That was one I was curious about because I remember hearing about the controversy and not actually knowing what's going on. Because I don't have a PS4, I don't have the game, so I'm like, you nerds, go do your thing. I don't care.
It's a good game. I definitely highly recommend it. If anyone has a PS4 or is thinking about getting a PS4, I'd definitely say Spider-Man is one of the games that you should pick up. Nice. The next game after that, I'm looking to pick up once I've finished exams and once I've finished Spider-Man. I will be looking to get God of War. All right. We'll hopefully talk about that on the show sometime soon.
I've seen and heard great things.
I've I have heard that as well, but one friend of the podcast hates it.
Ooh.
Argic.
Oh, really?
He played it for 3 hours straight and he couldn't do it.
Really?
I was talking to him about it, and because I just asked him out of the blue, I said, thinking about buying God of War for PlayStation, like, give me a rundown, what do you think of it? He went, terrible. I cannot get in it. I've tried playing it on easy mode, tried playing it on hard mode, tried playing it on normal. I just can't get myself into the game. It's just too different from the other games. And I went, isn't that kind of why it's good? And he went, you'd think. But apparently people just like the mindless, brutal Kratos from the original games. Personally, I think I prefer the newer ones because I hated the original God of War. I had God of War 1 on PS2 and I thought, this is just a poor man's Devil May Cry. Like, get rid of this shit. Give me the actual Devil May Cry. I
think with your kind of background and association with like fighting games, and like button mashing games, or not button mashing, but like tempo fighting games like Spider-Man, like Batman games, it might be more your style than his. Yeah, because he's a little busy doing speedrunning constantly. Yeah,
his schedule is nightmarish. So if you want to go and show our boy Argic some love, go on twitch.tv/Argic, watch some of his streams, mainly Sonic based.
Yeah.
But yeah, go and show the guy some love.
He'll be busy. You'll see him around.
Yeah. Maybe on the main stage at Insomnia.
Yeah, maybe. We're not sure.
It's weird to say that someone that we used to hang about with at fucking high school is like, oh, he's on a main stage somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, good on you, but it's weird to say. It's kind of like when someone becomes a dad, you're like, that guy's a dad. But yeah.
Interesting, yeah. Let's say actually Devil May Cry 5. Have you started that? Have you played that at all?
And finished it twice.
Okay.
Yeah, once on Devil Hunter mode, once on Son of Sparta mode. Holy shit, I cannot stress enough that this game is fucking amazing.
Right.
You play as, the setup for the game is you play as 3 different characters. You can play as Nero, who is the sort of up and coming fledgling Devil Hunter. You've got Dante, of course, the legendary Devil Hunter, and you've got this mysterious character called V. Nero, he plays him in Devil May Cry 4. He had the demon arm that he could use to do all these cool sick combos with. That has been ripped off him by some unknown demon. And he's found someone that creates the guns for Dante, the sort of legendary gunsmith. Like one of her descendants has made him a replacement robotic arm, and that's his whole gimmick throughout the game. Is he can find different robotic arms that will like help him do different things. They'll have different abilities throughout the game. With Dante, his thing is always devil arms and firearms. You'll get different guns and different swords and stuff that will help him throughout the missions. With V, he's more of a summoner because he's a tiny, weak, frail man.
He's got like a panther, isn't he?
He's got a panther and it's basically just a giant eagle type thing, but it's called Griffin. The panther's called Shadow, and the giant eagle thing's called Griffin. One of them the Griffin's in charge of ranged attacks. The panther goes in and just shreds things. And his devil trigger allows him to summon this big massive Goliath that just slams things about.
I hadn't heard about the Goliath.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And one of V's gimmicks is he can read a book that refills his devil trigger. So you can just let the bird and the panther just destroy things. You just sit reading your book. I have full devil trigger. Summon the Goliath. And just it has a move that you can just send this beam across the stage and it just sends explosions like some kind of weird Power Rangers thing.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. The only problem is he can't take much damage because he's a tiny squishy man.
Yeah. I've heard that his is not quite the hardest, but it's the challenge of moving yourself in 3D space as well as targeting for your attacks for the panther and the griffin. Yeah,
because you have to target with them, and they can't kill demons; they can only damage them.
Right.
So then you need to warp in and stab them with your cane.
Right.
And it becomes this extra challenge of you're locking on you're kind of macromanaging these 2 characters because you can split them, and they can attack different things, and it becomes a thing of can you move in, kill that enemy or finish off that enemy before another one starts attacking you, and you also have to watch the health of your familiars as well. So if they lose health, you just basically need to stand next to them so the health refills quicker, or you can keep a distance and it will come back slower. So you need to kind of try and find this middle ground with V's combat, and it's really, really fun. It's challenging, but it's really fun when you get it right.
Yeah.
But then you can flash to Dante and Nero when you're just like, I have a gun and a sword and I'm going to throw you up in the air and I'm going to shoot you a couple times and I'm going to stab you in the head.
It's the difference between challenging fun and fun.
And just stupid, dumb fun. Like what I like to call a dick flick, when it's just like the Expendables, like Demolition Man, or...
I thought there was a move called a dick flick.
No, there's
I just assumed somebody smacked someone in the dick with a sword and shot him in the head.
Probably. I might not have unlocked that skill yet, but I kind of liken it to that, where it's just something that's just fun. You don't need to think about it. It is just fun to that kind of primal male part of your brain. And just like, I'm going to throw him up in there. I'm going to stab him a couple of times. I'm going to switch to my nunchucks. I'm going to hit him with the nunchucks a couple of times. Then I'm going to hit him to the ground. I'm going to use my gauntlets to box his head a couple of times. There's something just that appeals to the primal part of the brain when you're pulling off these cool combos and you're seeing all this carnage and shit unfold in front of you. But where Devil May Cry 5 kind of falls flat is the story. The story is the thinnest plot to the game, thinnest plot to a game I've ever seen.
Because the series isn't the best.
Yeah, the series isn't known for its story. The story's there, and what story you can glean is good. But the story for 5 is just kind of Nero loses his arm. He finds the demon that's ripped his arm, and kind of unfolds a big plot from there. But it's more of a plot between Dante and the demon that you find. Dante, the demon that you find in V. Nero's just kind of there.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, this thing ripped my arm off. I'm going to fuck him up. Then Dante says, no, you're not ready for this, kid. With reason. There's a reason why he's trying to push him away. But for the story purposes, he's like, no, kid, you're just dead weight. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Then the story kind of kicks off of there. But when the plot elements come to light, it works. But more often than not, it's just Nero playing catch up. Because Dante and V are kind of just going, oh, we know what's happening. We're going to go to the finish line. And Nero's just like, wait for me, guys.
Hey, wait up for me. I got my friend. She's driving around in the van. I need help.
Yeah. I can't run as fast as a demon.
You guys are cheating. It's not fair. Nobody said he'd be riding a panther. This is bullshit.
And Dante can fly. This is cheating. Weird to say, considering it is a Devil May Cry game, but Dante gets some character development.
That's not right.
It works. It kind of. There's a moment where Dante, because Dante and Virgil are always in the kind of the shadow of their father, Sparda, the legendary Dark Knight. He freed the human world from the grip of the demon world. He separated the two. He fought on the side of the humans and ended the war between the humans and the demons, or whatever it is. I can't really remember. But then at one point, Dante kind of goes, "Oh, right, I beat that guy that killed my dad. I'm better than him." Then there's this moment that he kind of surpasses him. He gains a new form, and what is known as the sort of legendary sword Sparda, he kind of changes it. He makes it his own. Then there's this new sword called the Devil Sword Dante, which takes after him, and it has these unique abilities based on Dante. So there's this kind of character development moment where Dante accepts that he's not his dad, but he can be something different.
Yeah.
And you're sitting thinking, Capcom, you son of a bitch, why are you putting character development? And then there's more character development towards the real bad guy, who I'm not going to spoil. I mean, it won't mean anything to you, but I'll tell you off mic.
Yeah.
Who the real bad guy is. And Nero. And you're like, Capcom, what the fuck are you doing? You make Resident Evil game. I mean, even in Resident Evil 2, there was character development for them. I'm like, Capcom, you've never done this before. Clearly, you've got new people in.
Are you guys learning to write?
Aye, who said you could have heartwarming moments here?
Yay.
But that's Capcom are on fucking fire this year.
Yeah.
Like, over the past couple of years, because we've had Monster Hunter World, we've had Resident Evil 2, we've had DMC 5. It's looking like we're going to get Resident Evil 3 remake, which people are not ready for.
Right.
Because you know about Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Vaguely, yeah.
The whole premise of the thing is you play as Jill Valentine. She's trying to get out of Raccoon City because she's heard that the place is just going to get leveled. Nuclear blast, wipe out Raccoon City. And to clean up any loose ends in Raccoon City, they've dropped in a tyrant called Nemesis. And its prime directive is to wipe out all the STARS members, because Wesker put the tyrant through its paces, and the one thing that could easily kill them is the STARS members, because they've been trained appropriately. Nemesis is just getting dropped into Raccoon City with the prime directive: kill all the STARS members. He's like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 Remake. You've probably seen a couple of videos of him tormenting people. He's like Mr. X, except he has a rocket launcher and he can sprint. Gamers are not ready for Resident Evil 3 Remake. They're going to play that on hardcore mode and they're like, oh, it's just like Mr. X. Wait, why is he sprinting? Where did the rocket launcher come from? I'm not ready.
I think they should just bring it out. Maybe tweak the tyrant a bit, change it. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, they'll probably change Nemesis a bit, because if they do make it exactly the same as Mr. X, the tyrant from RE2, people are going to piss themselves. Or they could just leave it as is and people will just die over and over again.
Make a twisted, like a tweaked version for the normal gameplay, but then on hardcore, make it the exact same as the original.
And make it exactly what you think it was going to be, where it can follow you everywhere and just sprint constantly.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can just have that there, like, for the nostalgia version.
Yeah.
When you're playing a remake or the remaster, You might as well get some nostalgia in there.
Yeah, may as well get a little bit of nostalgia in there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where Capcom go. It has been hinted that they're going to do some other remakes outside of the Resident Evil genre. So I'm personally hoping we get a Dino Crisis remake, because I think that'd be fucking amazing.
Or Time Crisis remake.
That's not Capcom.
Is it not?
Namco.
Oh.
It has technically been Namco Bandai. You know that's still going.
Really?
Time Crisis, yeah. If you go to any arcade in Scotland, you'll find a Time Crisis 6 machine.
Just I'm thinking with like the dawn of VR and the AR.
Oh, yeah.
You could pull that off, right?
Oh, yeah. Bandai Namco, you're welcome for the idea.
I mean,
Give us VR Time Crisis.
free money if you want it.
Yeah. While you're at it, give us VR, that Jurassic Park Lost World arcade game that you used to get.
I think somebody's made a Jurassic Park experience. I don't know if it's an official
I
one.
want it to be the light gun game that you used to see in the arcades when you would sit in the cabin of the Jeeps from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And it'd just be you were on the safari and you had to shoot all the different dinosaurs. I fucking love that game. Whenever we went on the family holiday down to Devon, there was this one huge big arcade that I always used to go to. I think I spent about £5 in there, just 50 pence after 50 pence, just playing this one game.
Actually,
Fucking
now
fantastic
that I think about it, House of the Dead.
Oh, dude, don't.
House of the
I
Dead.
fucking love a House of the Dead game.
Typing of the Dead.
Did you ever play Typing of the Dead?
No.
It's the most infuriating game you ever played because I can touch type.
Yeah.
Touch typing is a skill that I'm glad I have. So I'm just sitting on then it's asking me to type out full sentences. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm dead.
You shits.
Why? It's a good way. I mean, it's probably a good way to teach people how to type under pressure. Like, don't want to get eaten, don't want to get eaten, don't want to, fuck, I'm dead. Dead because I couldn't spell encyclopedia.
Nobody can spell encyclopedia. That's what Google's for.
That's what copy paste is for. I don't need to worry about this shit.
Touch typing. Learn touch typing, kids.
Yeah, it's a skill.
You can type out like without looking at what you're typing, or
What freaks people out?
Yeah, people aren't ready for it. You just sit there like, doing stuff, looking at other stuff, check your screen, and somebody looks at you and goes, "You're not looking at what you're doing." I'm like, don't need to.
I can touch it. I freaked someone out doing that at uni. One of my lecturers, she walked up and she was speaking to me, just like general checking type thing. I was like still typing away, but just had my head like laptop's face in front of me. My head was turned to the right, and just came, "How are you doing that?" I went, I assumed everybody could touch type. I thought it was just a skill that people learned.
Yeah, I think it's a different thing for us because we grew up on the internet and you need to be able to respond to chat rooms, and that would be how you'd have to get your point in. Yeah, you can stop and look away, or you would have to be able to look and do other stuff at the same time as like typing at 100 miles an hour. But I think that's the only adjustment you need to make is when you change keyboard, because you can touch type for a specific device. And you can probably have like one that you go to every day. Like I'm now at the point I can touch type on that, the Logitech keyboard I've got over there. But if you switch to like a Dell keyboard, the spacing's slightly different. Yeah, like this laptop, the keys are like wider, flatter. Yeah, and they're also like fatter. The actual keys themselves, and there's a different gap between them as opposed to what's on the Logitech keyboard. You need to like relearn for each keyboard. But once you've got it, you fucking got it.
Yeah, I had that problem when I was working as a youth worker. All my work was done on Apple.
Ooh, unfortunate.
Yeah, pray for me. I had to edit videos. I had to do all this different shit on an Apple, and I eventually did learn the Apple button, all the different layout of the keys. But then we got rid of all the Apple computer, and then we went back to these stupidly powerful Windows machines that cost the church that I was working in several £1,000s. Yeah. That they just had in the budget.
Mysteriously, God's got the spare cash. It's fine.
God has gifted us these new Windows computers. But then I was like,
is that an i7?
Like, where the hell did you get that? The graphics card is so powerful it has to have its own like cooling system. It's ridiculous.
I'm looking into more gaming PCs now again because my brother's considering getting one, and I'm trying to find a decent price one. Like I don't think he needs the overpowered thing that I've got. You just need something to game on. I'm like, what can I get them for? Turns out you can get a lot for just £400.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Because I've been looking into getting a gaming laptop, something that I can do, working stuff on, but something that I can load a version of Steam onto and sit and play games on that. Because the laptop that I have just now is, I think it's a couple models below what you have, what you use to record the podcast and stuff on, and it's basically just a notebook with a 500 gigabyte hard drive in it. It's very outdated. It does the job, but at the same time I want something that I can play games on. Yeah. Because I tried to play the original Resident Evil 1, not the remake, the original, and it was like playing a game at 3 frames a second.
Jeez.
It was the slowest raise up to the gun, and it was a blur. You know when on the original like Windows XP or something, if something crashed and you could drag the thing up, it was like that. You could see like the different frames that it took the person to raise the gun up.
Damn.
It's horrible. But I have had the laptop for about 4 years, and I think it might have been a couple of years old when I bought it, so I think it's just time to get a new one out.
I think a gaming laptop might be... I don't game that much on the go.
Yeah. It's just something, it's just so I could have the option.
Yeah, I think
I do have a lot of free time.
I do it more for the heavy duty processing power than the actual like gaming experience itself. Although having tried to work out how to do streaming properly, the gaming laptop seems pretty useful just for the processing power. So it's on the cards, but at the same time, it's an expensive fucking card.
Yeah, it's an expensive card to play.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. What were we talking about?
We're gonna
talking about Resident Evil at one point.
Yeah, we're talking about Capcom's on a roll.
Yeah,
like, it's weird to say considering all the crap that they put out. Say about 3-4 years ago, some of the shite that they've been dropping since then. But now they're hitting out with big game after big game, because Monster Hunter World was huge. That picked up Capcom were on the verge of bankruptcy. Then World came in and just went, no, you're good. Then Resident Evil 2 came in and just was such a huge thing. And then DMC5 is just, again, it's just helping Capcom stay afloat. To the tune of, I think, 20 million copies or something it's shipped.
Damn, son.
That's ridiculous. Because, again, DMC5, people have been waiting so fucking long for this game. Because we had the reboot, remake, Destruction, DMC Devil May Cry, which is retarded when you think of it, because the full name of that game is Devil May Cry, Devil May Cry. It's stupid. And it's a horrible game. Story-wise and character-wise, gameplay-wise, it's not bad. Because it does introduce a couple of mechanics that Devil May Cry's 1 through 5 didn't have. 1 through 5 don't have. But to be honest, there's a good reason why they don't need them. Yeah. It's cool to see them in there, but ultimately they didn't need them. It wasn't completely fucking atrocious, but the characters and some of the decisions that they made therein was pretty bad. So it was good to see Capcom realising that they made a mistake, fixing it with a fucking superb game, and it's going to be cool to see what they do in the future with those characters again. Because I don't know how much I can say without spoiling it, so I'm going to leave it at that. It'll be interesting to see where they're going to go with, say, Devil May Cry 6, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil 3 remake, or even subsequent remakes, because they've now looked at it and said, people want remakes. People are happy with us remaking games in a different way, so we're going to keep exploring that avenue.
It's weird that they wouldn't have just learned that from Nintendo. Yeah,
because Nintendo have been doing that for a while.
Yeah. The one thing for this was that it seems like it's gone out of its original audience. Like you're saying, people have been waiting for it, but how many people have been waiting for it? The hardcore audience is maybe 500,000 to 1 million?
Yeah.
Those people have been waiting for a long time. But now it seems like because of the polish of this game, and because it's quite popular and quite fun to play through, I think it's now getting out into the other people. Yeah,
I think other people looking at it and going, oh, that looks like a good hack and slash, I'm going to pick that up. Or people are seeing Resident Evil 2 and thinking, I'm a horror fan, I'm going to pick this game up. And then they're seeing this, like the polish and the love that's put into this game and thinking, I'm going to look further into the series. Unfortunately, if people that play Resident Evil 2 Remake start looking back into the series, they're going to get one good game in Resident Evil 7, then they're going to get Resident Evil 6, which is good from a gameplay standpoint, but the story, if I can even say such a thing, is dicks. Yeah. It's horrible.
Although I think most people would actually take the time to research. If they're coming back into, if they're going to go and research whatever's going on, they can find the good stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, cause that's part of what's the joy of coming to a series late, is I don't go through and play every single thing. If I'm going into a series that I know is like hundreds of hours of gameplay, I really will go and cherry pick the best.
Yeah.
I'll not fuck around and like, trudge through number 2 to get to, like, I'm never gonna if I eventually get to Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, I'm not fucking around with everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to the good shit, the important stuff, and then finishing that and being done with it.
If you were to ask me what Kingdom Hearts games you would need to play, I'd say play Birth by Sleep, because it's the best example of the game.
Right.
Say play 1 just to see where Sora starts. 2, then 3. Just basically play, because the way I see it, Birth by Sleep is Kingdom Hearts 0. That starts the sort of story. Then play 1, 2, and 3. Don't bother with all the side stuff. Don't bother with all that. If you just wanted the good games, stick with the main 4.
I was laughing my ass off. I texted you about this because was watching a game time with from Rooster Teeth, and it was Bernie, Gus, Ashley, and I think it was Chad, they were talking about the Kingdom Hearts storyline, because that's what you do. Is you sit down and you watch somebody play a game, talk about that game, a little bit the gaming news, and just have a little chat. And also, it's quite casual, it's quite laid back. It's good to just kind of throw on another screen if you're doing something, or if you just want some like ambient noise while you're cleaning up or like cooking dinner. And they were going on about like trying to explain the story of Kingdom Hearts, and just Bernie's exasperation is Ashley, because she knows it, she loves this series, and she's explaining everything that's going on. It's like, fucking hell. Honestly, it's like you're playing Wikipedia. There's just so much that's there. But that's the greatest description of Kingdom Hearts I've ever seen.
I think I can't remember how to pronounce the name. I think it's Nomura. Tetsuya Nomura, the guy who writes Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I think he just lost sight of the story. Kind of along the lines of, do you know... You know,
well, when you're right, high as fuck. Let's be honest. That storyline is...
You know the story. You know the Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Yes.
I think it's along the same lines as that. Obviously not to the same degree, because the guy who wrote and made the Five Nights at Freddy's games had an idea, then just fucking let loose. Yeah. He doesn't even know where that is. I think with Tetsuya Nomura, he left such a long gap between Kingdom Hearts 2, all the subsequent games, and then 3. There's so much in there that it's so easy to lose track of the story. He just started trying to stitch things together, like thinking, did I mean this or did I mean that? Or fuck it, let's see what happens. And I think even in interviews, Tetsuya Nomura said,
"Oops,
that the story's not finished." Pretty much, yeah. He said that the story's not finished. He's going to have to finish it with DLC and maybe additional cutscenes that he's going to add in. And basically, he's come out and said that Kingdom Hearts 3.5 is inevitable, in the sense of we're going to get Kingdom Hearts 3 again, but it's going to have the additional story content that we needed to get the full experience the first time. Because right now I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is a solid 8, just in terms of gameplay. Story-wise, it kind of chugs some gravel. But to build it up to maybe a 10 out of 10 game, it needs something else. It needs that little bit extra.
I think it honestly needs a 4. I think the 2-point-something games went way too far.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody should have just sat somebody down and said, where is 3?
Yeah.
And I think that someday we'll see how good 3 was, like a solid definitive release like 3.
Yeah.
And say, okay, that was 3. The story will continue in 4.
Yeah.
You can have 1 or 2 DLCs, 1 or 2 optional bits. But motherfucker, you're making 4.
Yeah, I think 4's an inevitability. I think he needs to do 4. Because there's so many loose ends and things that never got answered in 3 that need to be answered in 4.
Yeah.
And the secret ending or the secret movie, the post-credit scene, leads on to a KH4.
The secret movie. I'm sorry, just that fact. This game's so intense, there's a secret movie at the end of it. Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a secret fucking movie. But I think the DLC is going to resolve a few of the loose ends in 3. But ultimately, I think 4 is an inevitability. And I don't think he's going to leave it for 3 years or 10 years again. I think he's going to be 2 years and he's going to be announcing KH4.
At this point, he couldn't.
There's no way he's going to get away with,
and just to,
13 years.
Just to like pimp this video again, Barry Kramer's A Good Enough Summary of Kingdom Hearts is still one of my favourite things I've seen this year.
Nice.
Just a half hour of him being like, okay, here we're going to finally fucking explain this bullshit. And just feeling him die gradually inside you through the video. It's brilliant. But yeah, I'd just put out 4.
Just give us 4.
The only acceptable way to have it last like another 10-year hiatus would be to have them do like a Toy Story where you age with the characters. Yeah. And then you're like, Sora's now like in his 30s.
Sora's now using, or just put it in the future where Sora's using his Keyblade as a walking stick. Back in my day, we killed Heartless. Dude, no one knows what the Heartless are anymore.
He's just a bit overweight. He's got to lose
He's got a punch.
Like, dude, the Keyblade war might happen at any minute. Yeah, but pastries, man.
Yeah, but I got bacon.
There's custard inside the pastry.
Do you know what creme brulee is, motherfucker?
I just wanted to quickly drop some rumours that have been going around the internet. Dragon Ball Super may be getting some more episodes.
I have heard that there's some new character.
Like we're almost confirmed for like another like chunk of the anime to happen, because there's another chunk of manga's been done.
I'm down with that purely because the way that Dragon Ball Super ended, it felt like, I mean, it was a good ending. The way they did it, it was good. You can tell that you kind of get the sense that they wanted to continue on.
Yeah.
Because fair enough, the Universal Tournament arc set up that this was going to be Goku and Vegeta's toughest fight yet, but you kind of get the sense that this was going to lead on to something else. Because there was never really any high stakes for it. Fair enough, the fate of the universe was
I was going to say, like, no high stakes.
Fate of the universe and all that shit.
Zeno was going to wipe the universe.
You could tell because he was some man child, he was never really going to follow through with it. There was always that sense that, like, because I kind of figured it from the very first fight in the Universal Tournament arc, I thought, whoever wins this, they're either going to wish for all their universes back, or Zeno's just going to bring them back anyway. Yeah. This is basically just one big fight for the Super Dragon Balls. It's just a test your integrity type thing.
It's more to do with just introducing Goku to the cosmic universe. The idea that there's more than one universe out there, and there's more to do. Yeah. And when Goku learns stuff like that, he's like, "Ooh, more fighting." Yeah, I kind of thought it would be like Jiren was the strongest thing that I fought in the tournament arc, but he's the weakest thing cosmically. So let's because we've went Goku, he's went his highest power humanly. Now he's trying to peak God. What's happened if he goes peak cosmic? Yeah. Just let's keep building that up. But there'll be apparently more Dragon Ball Super coming or being made for July 2019. It's not far away. No, I'm down with that. But character development, the character designer from Broly is coming on board to do the character designs for the show. Nice. So if you like that kind of blue design for Vegeta, it's coming back in a big way. The guy that drew some of the fight scenes for Dragon Ball Super Broly is a guy called Yuya Takahashi. He's got the more kind of definitive lines and stuff. Yeah. You've seen him, especially when Vegeta was fighting Broly, when he goes red. Yeah. Super Saiyan God. That is Yuya Takahashi, and he drew some of the best episodes of Dragon Ball Super. Yeah. You can tell that he's got a very manga type style. Mm. Because everything's more definite, everything's kind of bold, solid black lines. I'd be down. If it is him, I'd be way down for that. But no, apparently there's a lot of staff coming over from the Super movie, like the Broly movie, to help out with the new series. 2 fucking months to get. I'm not happy with that. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it because it's supposedly the Galactic Patrol Prison Escape. Oh. So I think if I remember what I read correctly, I've not actually sat and read the manga, but if you read into it, Vegeta and Goku kind of have to join the Galactic Patrol. Right. To help, because they want to get involved to help out, to fight people. So they have to join the Galactic Police Force. Yeah, so more Jacko. I'm down with Jacko. I'd be okay with Jacko. Todd Abercrombie just running around being a little space weasel. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, there's going to be. I'm just looking at. Oh yeah, it was mostly just I had noticed about saying the pre-production is already in place, so it should hopefully negate the issue where Dragon Ball Super was and go make Super. And they just kind of threw it against the wall and told people to make it stick, and that's why we got sort of bad start to the Super series. Poor animation, which is a real shame because they were reanimating scenes from the movies, which were phenomenal in the movie. That's why I don't watch those original arcs, because if I've got the Resurrection F and Battle of Gods movie there, why would I watch a kind of different, badly drawn version? Yeah, I need to sort it where I because I thought my DVD. Or my Blu-rays would start at the beginning of the Universe 6 and 7 arc, but I'm one off, so I need to go back and buy the previous ones to get that part, and then go from there forward, but those are just being made. So it's I want to try and buy them in chunks. I want to buy 2 Blu-rays at the same time and just binge them, because you can't just have one. Yeah, you can't have one. Yeah, you burn through one fairly quickly. Yeah, that's like an afternoon. It's an afternoon of just giving up on the couch. It's great. Speaking of giving up on the couch. Oh, go on. Poorest segue of all time. Here comes a new challenger. Here comes a new challenger. We're here with my story, not Dom's. My story. My story. We found out we had the same story. Yeah, I was like, hey, we're doing Here Comes the New Challenger today. And Dom's like, we're totally going to do it. I've got this thing with Dragon Ball Fighters news. I'm like, yeah, I got a story about Fighters too. Well, you got about Fighters. Then we've got the same fucking story. We've got the exact same story. God damn it. Turns out the new downloadable character that's joining the Great Saiyaman and Jiren and Dragon Ball Super Broly and
Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta is going to be GT Goku, but not GT Adult Goku, GT Kid Goku.
So, of all the people,
of all the Gokus to add to this already heavy Goku game, Kid Goku from that show that doesn't exist.
Technically.
Yeah. Although they might be working it in somehow, I don't know.
They better fucking not.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a long, like kind of awaited thing of like, I wonder what it's going to be, and we just had to just reveal that it's that. Although I do like that it came from the back of like a current like manga publication.
Yeah.
It was just like a Japanese, like as a scan of this went up, everyone's like, why? Yeah. Why?
A lot of the response was, this game has so many Gokus in it already, because you've got base level Goku, you've got Super Saiyan Goku, you've got Goku Black, you've got Super Saiyan Blue Goku, you've technically got another 2 Gokus in Gogeta and Vegito. Bardock, it could be argued as a Goku. There's so many fucking Gokus in the game, and then people aren't angry at the fact that there's going to be another Goku in the game. People are angry at the fact that it's going to be that Goku that's in the game.
That motherfucker.
Because there's already a rumour going around that his level 3 super combo is going to be a transformation super where he goes Super Saiyan 4.
Oh no.
And I don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
People would rather forget that Super Saiyan 4 exists, but the fact is the woman that is directing the game is a fan.
Yeah.
And she's putting it in there. And I get Dragon Ball FighterZ, it's all about honouring the entire legacy of Dragon Ball Z, warts and all. Yeah. That means we have to include GT in there. I swear to fuck, he better be the only GT character in there. Because if we get GT Goku, then all of a sudden, baby Vegeta. I don't want it.
Goodness, guys, another Vegeta's coming. Oh, no.
No, don't you dare.
And we got some good news. Oh, no, don't you dare. It's baby Vegeta. Everyone's favourite Vegeta. And there's just a gunshot.
And his level 3 supers, he turns into giant ape baby Vegeta. Don't you dare. That was such a weird looking thing. It was a giant golden grey ape with massive Power Ranger type shoulder pads.
It was the weirdest idea I've ever seen.
Yeah. GT was the weirdest fucking idea anyone's ever seen. Yeah.
Other than that, any other fighting game news?
I mean, there's Mortal Kombat news, but I did realise when I was listening back to the show from the last time we recorded, that I'm sitting talking about all these different characters coming to Mortal Kombat. I've never played a Mortal Kombat game before, so I can't say, oh dude, we're getting Jax Briggs, we're getting Liu Kang, we're getting Kung Lao, we're getting Kitana, we're getting Shang Tsung. I've never played these characters before. I can't say if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I get that Liu Kang is pretty much synonymous with Mortal Kombat. He's kind of the Ryu, almost kind of the Ryu if you consider Scorpion another type of Ryu character. He's a poster character.
Yeah. So
it's pretty cool that they're coming to the game, but I can't really say, oh, this character plays this way, this character plays that way, because I don't know. So Mortal Kombat 11 is going to be my first Mortal Kombat game, and the beta for that goes live tomorrow. So I should get my code for that tonight, hopefully.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be able to download it and play it tomorrow.
You had something else from gaming, like fighting games.
Yeah, I think it's been a slow, apart from Mortal Kombat just going, hey guys, have all these fucking characters. Smash Bros are still kind of, putting their hand up at the back going, we're giving you a Joker within the next 4 weeks. It's going to be out in April sometime. My favourite time of year.
I think they go for it with it being Joker.
Yeah.
April 1st.
Yeah.
Just to fuck with people. Or just announce it, then fake the announcement, and then actually give them out. Like, have it come out early in the morning that it's going to come out. Crush that by mid-afternoon, and then by, the evening, actually release it.
Yeah, actually say, Andy's live now. Yeah.
See if you can, beat, just flood the 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
With nothing but Joker.
Nothing but Joker is now at Smash. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, he's, I wonder how he's going to play, though. Because Persona 5 is a bit darker.
Yeah, Persona 5 it's not your typical Nintendo friendly character. Obviously, you've got quite a few brutal characters in there already, because you've got, Bayonetta, who's infamous for, torture techniques and stuffing enemies into the mouth of a giant demon and shit like that. And then you've got Snake, who snaps people's necks. Then you've got Kirby, who eats people whole. So
if you don't think that's dark, think about it.
yeah, if you don't think that he holds them in a galaxy that is within his stomach in an endless cycle of pain that they cannot break from, you are insane, Jack.
And occasionally, he'll spit somebody out.
Occasionally, someone else will come in, but you won't be able to see them. You'll just hear their screams from across the vast cosmos that is Kirby's stomach.
Meanwhile, in the void.
That's someone probably has written that fan fiction.
That's called Vor, my friend.
Yeah.
The fetish where you're eaten for some reason.
Apparently quite big in the Sonic community.
Yeah, the Sonic community is its own special beast.
Yeah, it's its own short bus.
Furries in general are becoming more and more... Everyone's a bit more aware of the furries.
Yeah, they're showing up at more cons in Scotland.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I just mean, like, people, like, it seems like Reddit went through a period of, like, ignoring them, and then, like, the next generation comes in, and they're like, hey, why did somebody talk about this furry thing? Now it's all anyone can talk about.
What I don't get is, it may not sit well with me. I just think it's a bit weird that you dress up in these weird furry costumes and you all pretend to be animals. What I don't get is why you would dress in these heavy as hell costumes in the middle of summer, particularly in Scotland where our summers get hot. Obviously not to the degree that, you know, other places like...
But it spikes out of control.
We get warm, especially because in May, there's a couple of cons here where the most of the people in the furry costumes tend to be. I've seen people just pass out. Like literally fall down. Like, oh, but I spent so much time in my costume. Like, motherfucker, you are going to pass out if you keep wearing this heavy, heavy costume. Like, pick a new costume.
I just don't get how they bang in them. Yes, they bang in them.
Use the tails. They reverse.
The tail is also a butt plug.
they touch tips.
So my favourite like Jessica Niki video is that somebody sends her a furry tail but with a butt plug in the end. And she runs through with it and shows it to her dad. I fucking love Jessica Niki. She's a fucking...
I've never watched it. Does she still do the videos?
I don't know.
On Mondays and stuff?
I need to go check. I know she's been busy. With like a load of cons at the end of last year, and then like she was taking some time off, so I'm not sure what's going on, but like I miss her.
I guarantee she's one of those people that needs to watch what she does at cons, because she's another one of those kind of like grabby, like just very overly affectionate type of people. I get that it doesn't help that she's leggy blonde with huge cans. You probably get away with it, but at the same time, there's still going to be some sweaty nerds just going, you didn't ask if you could touch me. What are you complaining about?
Some MGTOW guy.
Yeah.
It's some weird MGTOW incel guy. Actually, I feel like we'd be remiss if we don't, before we do the showstopper, if we don't mention the whole New Zealand Christchurch mosque shooting. Yeah. I think it was 50 dead now in total, 49 initially, and then another guy passed in hospital. The fucking worst thing I've seen. Yeah. As far as like it's up there with the Orlando nightclub shooting. Where it happened to the gay community in Florida. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we have this like absolute cunt of a human being. Yeah.
Did you see that somehow PewDiePie got roped into this? Because at one point the guy says subscribe to PewDiePie, then starts.
And that's the thing, is that because this guy is just a piece of shit human.
Yeah, he's human wasted garbage.
He's, as per usual with these things, he's been identified as a white nationalist incel, Trump supporter. He actually, in his manifesto, praised Trump as being this kind of resurgent symbol for white identitarianism, and has been all over the news because he has deliberately marketed himself to be as hateable as possible. He was showing up in court. They've boarded his face. Actually, New Zealand's taken a very good stance on blocking his name out. Yeah, to the point where I had to look for like an hour to try and find the guy's actual fucking name.
Yeah, they did say on one of the sort of press releases, I think the Prime Minister,
she denounced it in Parliament. She says she's not going to do.
Yeah, she's not going to give him the press or the
attention.
Thank you. The attention that he clearly wants. They're basically just going to have a complete media blackout on his name, which I think is the right thing to do. Yeah, because the whole thing is, you mention this guy's name, the guy gets the attention the person gets the attention that they want. If you just
and the next guy sees that,
next guy sees that and thinks, oh well, that guy's getting all this attention because of it. I'm going to try and do something similar, and it just creates this kind of almost, it's a horrible way to put it, but this kind of one-upsmanship. Like, well, he did that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it better. And more people are going to know my name.
I think you'll find, like, if you look into deeply enough into the manifestos, guys, because the guy who did the Christchurch massacre has idolised the guy who did the massacre in Norway a couple of years ago. And he actually was in contact with friends of that guy to try and, like, that he was part of a white nationalist movement up there. He contacted other people in that guy's group of associates to get blessings for what he did in Christchurch, and it's fucking shocking. And the fact that he's glommed onto all these weird internet concepts and memes and stuff like that, and is using them as he's gunning down men, women, and children.
Yeah.
In the worst terrorist attack. This thing it is a terrorist attack. Yeah,
there's no way you can say, oh, this is just a regular shooting. No, this is a terrorist attack. This is people. Because if it was a church, I don't think that would change anything. It's the fact that it's a mosque. Yeah, it's motivated. It's
someone
attack.
Using violence.
Yeah.
And terror to achieve political and societal change.
Yeah.
The textbook definition of terrorism. So there was the footage that came out of it because he was live streaming it from a GoPro he put on a helmet.
Yeah.
Went up on Facebook. Apparently people have managed to grab that and spread it around the internet, and his manifesto has been spread around. It's actually kind of 50-50 on reading it or not, because it's 77 pages.
Yeah. Personally,
like, I can look that far into the void for 77 pages, but I didn't go through with it yet.
I don't think I would. I wouldn't put myself through that just because I don't want to understand what his reasoning is for doing something like that, because then that in my mind cements the fact that this person has thought about it. There's
a logical path you can follow that leads to you gunning down.
There's a sanity
kids.
to it. It's just this guy has sanely thought, I'm going to do this, this and this, and this is going to give me this outcome. I don't want to see this person's working, because in my mind the only way that I can kind of the only way that I can look at this without, what's the best way to put this? I can only really view this as, no logical person could come at this.
Yeah. This is the work of an insane mind.
This is the work of an insane mind, a clearly unstable mind. But if the working is there, it would kind of mess with my head a little bit. Yeah. So personally, for me, I'd just almost kind of write them off.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all you can really do. Because if you start humanizing them, then that kind of leads to sympathy, and that kind of leads to people thinking, well, maybe it's not his fault that he did this. Maybe it's society's fault. And then no, because that guy's clearly committed a terrorist atrocity.
Yeah.
Don't try and detract from that. So I think that's why I would probably not read the manifesto.
I mean, that's it seems like everything's been handled as well as it could. So I mean, congratulations to New Zealand on handling this issue like a fucking adult country should.
Yeah, I think they had the right way in sort of controlling it just by putting a blanket ban on automatic weapons.
Yeah,
I think it's
they're doing the whole thing of like just bring them down. Yeah. You're not breaking the law at this point, but come in, drop off your weapons, we'll destroy them, and we'll put in place a ban that bans I think there's already one in place banning the sale. And the thing is, their like NRA is okay with it. They're like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's provisions that allow certain pistols and small caliber rifles, like 22 rifles, for like pest control.
Yeah, for farmers.
Yeah, farmers and that kind of like a shotgun or something like that. There's common sense gun control laws that are being put in place.
Yeah, I think it also helps that it's not constitutional. I think because there's something in the Constitution that says you have the right to bear arms in times of crisis in America.
Oh, for the US, it's the right to bear arms for the means of funding or for the means of forming a well-regulated militia to overthrow government tyranny. I don't think it's ever been used like that. Yeah, I really don't think it has been.
I don't think it's even relevant now. I mean, people might start deeming it relevant, and if
the problem is
things with Trump keep going the way they are.
The problem is that the way it's written, it is an unalienable right that cannot be tampered with in any way. So the fact that technology has marched forward from like muskets and single shot rifles to machine guns means that the battle is now not over the right to access any firearm, it's the right to access current firearms. Because for example, if you had 5 rifles when it was a single shot rifle, that's pretty much practical in a way. That makes sense. Whereas now you really, do you need 5 AK-47s?
Yeah, you need 5 AR-15s to defend your property.
Yeah, that's the issue that they're facing a lot now. Is not so much the number of guns, although apparently there's now the point of there being a gun for every person in the US.
Jesus.
And probably more now, since that's like a stat from like a year or two ago. There's now, it's the technology advance that becomes the issue, and that's this guy walked in with a fully automatic weapon.
Yeah, I think because there was the attack in Christchurch, and then there was a subsequent attack in Holland, Denmark.
Yeah, there was a guy jumped onto a bus and unloaded a semi-automatic gun.
Yeah, I
into a bus.
I think there was 3 fatalities there.
Yeah.
So I think it's not something that I'm going to say I have the solution for, but it's all down to the relevant states. But if it was me that was dealing with it, I think a blanket ban on any and all firearms, unless you are military or armed response, is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
But I get there's politics and there's other things in there that I am not going to wade into.
Yeah, it's horrific, and
the numbers are adding up. I mean, there's more firearms-related violence and firearms-related fatalities each year.
Yeah.
So I personally think there's just something that needs to be done. But
the problem is that nobody wants to demonise white nationals.
Yeah.
And you're like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
How much smoke before we scream fire? And it's
I think at this point it's not.
It's a mental health issue at this point. Like it's a not just within like a certain country.
Mm-hmm.
Like the internet has opened the door between thousands of different cultures, and they are all trying to interact with each other. And unfortunately, we're not addressing the issue of the idea that there's this white nationalist international identity spreading. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from, in a way, as long as you're white. And that's a weird thing that there's like international cooperation from people who only want you to have been from a certain national geographic area.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's a weird paradox. I don't know. Fuck knows how to fix this one. But yeah, if we can just send out the best wishes from our little podcast to the entire country of New Zealand, which is handling this like fucking grown-ups.
Yeah, they're definitely, it's the more, sounds quite pretentious to say, but it's the more evolved way to handle things.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you contrast that with the Brexit one, it's just literally...
Oh, Jesus, we're not doing that one.
No, all I'm going to say is Theresa May's entire stance is just, you didn't back me when you had the chance, now you are all fucked. I'm like, well, don't be a petty son of a bitch and let's fix this thing that you got us into.
Yeah,
But let's not go down that avenue, because my head will explode if someone says Brexit.
That would be a separate podcast, and we're at 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll leave Brexit for some other time, but I think it's time for the showstopper.
Yeah.
This one's at least kind of funny in a really bad, dark way.
In a dark way.
So, we're all geeks here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, the listener included. That
what would you do if I just went, dude, I'm faking this?
I've
never read a single comic book.
Lord of the fucking Bellends. He needs Frodo. My name's Frodo, I got a ring.
Chuck it into the fire, you wee dick. What you doing?
Use the eagles.
Fly, you cunt.
And there's a weird thing with geeks that we keep collecting crap we don't need.
True.
See, for example, any room in any house owned by a geek.
Funko Pops.
So the thing from this story is that the worst thing that can happen is that you spend time and money investing in like not only collecting but presenting the collection that you have, so that anyone who comes in and goes, oh, there's something to this collection. You've spent time and money and effort on this.
Is this a collection of butt plugs or something?
Damn it. No, this is a Japanese man who had his he was helping out with a family funeral, and his nephew came over as they were bidding farewell to their grandmother, and the family was staying at his place to like kind of help save the cost because they had to travel from out of town, yada yada yada. And he left the kid in the collection room. The kid trashed the place. Yeah. He has, and it's an impressive collection. It's all in like glass cabinets with like top down LED lighting. It looks legit. It's
nice.
Amazing.
Like a proper museum.
He was shocked to find the room had turned into a mess when he returned from the funeral, with the collectibles found scattered across the living room. So the kid took him out of the cabinets. walk across the room and went yeet.
Threw them all over the place.
So I'm trying to find the list of how much was all 38 figurines, 41 limited edition action figures, 9 sets of DVDs, 33 CDs, 45 comics, and a computer were damaged.
Jesus Christ. What was does it say what the collection was?
It looks, there's like a mix of Gundam. It's all like anime. It's in Japan. It's
Alright, yeah.
It's just it's an impressive collection. There's a lot of Gundam in there.
Yeah.
But it's from.
To be fair, those
100
Gundam
different
kits are
brands.
fucking expensive, so I'd be pissed off as well.
The total cost was estimated to be at least 3.14 million yen. US dollars, that's about 28 grand. For us, that's about 22 grand.
Jesus Christ. I'd make the kid pay. I'm not going to fucking lie.
It's getting worse.
Oh shit.
So
Did he shit in the box?
this was the estimated damage. Once they actually went and did a bit of research, so we could prevent like a real estimation of what was lost, based on Amazon prices, the total came to 4 million yen, 35.7 grand US, which, if I remember correctly, totals out to about 28 grand for us in the UK. Because like this has to be handled in a certain way, like initially the kid was obviously told off.
Yeah. Understandably.
It seems that he like may have to sue to make sure that the full legal compensation is like fulfilled, and for like
So is he suing the kid?
insurance purposes. So if I remember correctly,
I know you're sad that Gran's dead, but you little motherfucker owe me £28,000.
yeah, he has received some compensation, so he may have to file lawsuits against his own cousin.
Jesus.
Or
How
his
old's the
own-
cousin again?
What he just says a kid, like, so he doesn't actually name it, like how old the kid is. Like there's no like name or identification or anything like that because it's a kid. But like, I'm gonna guess it's like I'm guessing it's like 8.
Yeah. Old enough to know what I was doing.
Old enough to know how to unlock a cabinet.
Yeah.
Not old enough to know why it's behind a glass door. So yeah, the was it 28 grand worth of damage done by a little shit.
I can see why. Knowing someone that, I mean, my older cousin has probably the biggest collection of just figures, movie memorabilia.
Yeah.
I always knew that when I rented my uncle's house for like a family dinner or something, when I went into my big cousin's room, it was always just look, never touch, because some of the shit that he has was signed by people that are no longer on this planet.
Yeah. We cannot replace this.
We cannot touch it. If you break this, rip this, destroy this, that cannot be replaced. You've forever damaged a one-of-a-kind item. So I was always that child that would just look at the cool things, like, oh, there's an Optimus Prime signed by Peter Cullen. Just have to sit in my hands and look at it.
That I'm just showing this to Dom. That's the before collection. You can't zoom in on it.
Yeah, you can.
Oh yeah.
You've got a capacitive screen. So all I'm going to say, there's a lot of what looks to be hentai figures.
Well,
A lot of ladies that bend at the waist.
I'm just saying, Japan, it's really weird that you put the underwear on them. That's a thing.
Is the one below, is that the aftermath?
Yep.
Jesus Christ, kid.
Fuck that kid, right?
That is a lot of broken Gundams.
It's a lot of broken shit, and it is when you say that, when you like, if you have a kid or you're babysitting for like your cousin, and they're like, I'm gonna go play with my toys. You're like, okay, fine. You leave for like 5 minutes. You come back, it's that.
Yeah.
It is just shit everywhere, in piles, in different pieces. Like nobody knows where different things go.
There's a cowboy hat and the cat for some reason.
Just nonsense. But yeah, that's it's horrific. We'll try and send the link out to people so they can read that article as well, because it's phenomenal. Fuck that kid.
I know a few people that are heavy collectors of the same stuff, anime stuff that they import from Japan. That I know for a fact that are going to either keep in high shelving or just in boxes where it cannot be found.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact those people are trying for kids. So
Ooh, mistakes.
just keep it hidden, or leave it. If you move it into a new house, leave it at your parents' house.
You can have a waifu or you can have a waifu. You cannot have
cannot
both.
have both. These
They
things
will
are not
destroy
one.
each other. Yeah, that's the way of it, kids. But I've been Colin Graham,
I've been Dom Anderson.
and we've been talking Gibberpish.